This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. The Blue Jays jersey is off the wall. The season is on the line. It's Game 6 ALCS Blue Jays Mariners as we are about 45 minutes away from first pitch this evening as the Blue Jays look to keep their season alive. At least one more game and force the all-deciding Game 7 at home against the Seattle Mariners. The Rogers Center going to be absolutely rocking tonight for the Blue Jays. Well, that's as Kevin Gausman demands, or he will throw gum at you. So that's where we find it tonight, friends. Plenty of time before first pitch, but the Blue Jays, a chance to get things going for a game to decide if they go to the World Series or not. But tonight you got to win to have that happen. So there's a little bit left to do if you're the Toronto Blue Jays. Pitching out there, Trey Savage for the Blue Jays tonight. A very important matchup for him as he'll go up against Gilbert for the Seattle Mariners. It's been an absolute roller coaster of a year for Trey Savage as he has gone out there and gone all the way from the depths of the minor leagues for the Toronto Blue Jays to the heights of the MLB and the MLB postseason as the wanted owl towels are going out in full effect to everybody that walks in the doors at Rogers Center, as it'll be a full capacity house, one would imagine, as the Blue Jays, like I said, try to force game number 7 here this evening. Welcome aboard. Thank you for tuning in, friends, as I get you going here this evening. What waits for the Blue Jays is if they can get through Seattle the next 2 games, and it feels crazy to say the next 2 games because the Dodgers are already waiting. Clem messaging me right before I hit the go live button. Didn't have the heart to tell him I was live streaming baseball tonight, but that's where we find ourselves, friends. The Dodgers waiting for the Blue Jays, resting up in LA, waiting to see who will come out of this series. The Mariners, the Blue Jays, it's going to be one heck of an uphill battle here for the Blue Jays the rest of the way home in this series. The bullpen is absolutely depleted. I mean, the starting rotation is the only hope, and it hasn't really had the best go here at home for the Blue Jays thus far. So now the question remains, can they get it done with the season on the line and only 2 games possibly remaining to get it going? So we'll see what the case is. But Shohei Ohtani, of course, he'll likely, I wonder, start game 1 or 2, depending on how much rest. Of course, if this goes to game number 7, 100%, I see Shohei starting game 1. But really, it's the 19th. The first game's not until the 24th of the World Series. So there's still plenty of time to get things going if you're both the Blue Jays, Mariners, or the Dodgers to get things going. So, yeah, this is where the Blue Jays have to come up with a big effort here in Game 6 because you got one more game left, whether it be today or tomorrow. And the Blue Jays, well, they're staring down the Mariners, who have beaten them 3 times already in this series, and rather convincingly as well. That's been the tough part for the Blue Jays, is there has not been an even-sided really win in this series, right? You look back at the history so far between these 2 teams through 5 games, it's been a heck of a matchup in this series. I mean, you go back to, right, what was it, the first game of the series, I guess that was a tightly contested one, 3-1. Feels like it's just been blowout after blowout, but that's been the case ever since. The Mariners blew out the Blue Jays 10-3 in Game 2, 13-4 Blue Jays over Mariners in Game 3, 8-2 Blue Jays over Mariners in Game 4, and then 6-2 Mariners over Blue Jays in Game 5. Game number 6 tonight at the Rogers Center, as I said. As just want to get this going. Of course, there's word tonight that this live stream might not go the full way. I'm just waiting to hear how a buddy ends up doing at the hospital, and then I might have to dip out once we find some word on that. So stay tuned, Clem. If you're wondering why I'm an hour live before the game, just simply rather make up the time now rather than just get live for 10 minutes and end up losing out on a live stream as soon as we fire it up. So that's where we find it. Boston, welcome aboard. Clem, welcome back aboard. Appreciate you hanging out. But as we get things rolling towards first pitch tonight, the Blue Jays, big news today. George Springer is back in the lineup for the Toronto Blue Jays after, of course, what happened there the other game, hitting in the leg. And hopefully for him, the legs are feeling good and he's ready to rock and roll out there. But what you got to keep in mind as well, Eugenio Suarez awoke in this game earlier this week. The Game 5 is not so good for the Blue Jays here, and Eugenio Suarez's 3-run homer, the big part of that. So we'll see if the Blue Jays can survive. If not, well, then it is curtains for an MLB season in which has been an absolute thrill to be a Blue Jays fan. I mean, this team coming from the depths of despair last year to come up with the effort they did, bringing back Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who will start in the 8-hole today. It's Springer, it's Lucas, it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the top 3 in the lineup. Kiner-Falefa and Andre Jimenez closing out the 9 spot, and Jimenez has been absolutely unreal in this postseason. Almost every single Blue Jays batter in the lineup has a home run. You've got Lucas and Kiner-Falefa without a home run. Kiner-Falefa, the only one really not producing the big results, but he also hasn't seen the big time at bats that the rest of the Blue Jays have through the 2 series so far. Jimenez rounding out the batting order with 8 RBIs. He's been absolutely clutch the last 2 games. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. still far and away the MVP for this team thus far. So see if that can continue. And Josh Naylor, who's had one heck of a series here, 325 batting average, seems to be on base every time he gets up there. You got, of course, Cal Raleigh, who's 333 average, 13 hits, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs this postseason. I don't know. Do you wonder if maybe you just intentionally walk them all game if nobody's on bag? Sorry. All right, that's where we find ourselves here, waiting for this game to get going. It's going to be an interesting go here this evening as we get towards first pitch and get through all the hoopla of having the team back at Rogers Center and hoping they can produce a result that throws this to 7 and throws this to tomorrow. That's the task at hand for Trey Savage today. 3 games played in the regular season, right? Maybe not the best numbers possible, but that debut he had against Tampa and the debut in the postseason, absolutely unbelievable. Everything since, maybe not as shiny, but hey, we'll see if he comes out electric tonight. He's a big moment pitcher by the look of his resume so far, and I will wonder if that is indeed how he does it here going forward in these playoffs. Hoping that the Blue Jays deliver a result tonight. Gillis TV, welcome aboard. John, welcome aboard as well, as we get to the situation that is closing in on first pitch. Gilbert going for the Mariners here tonight as well. His season, well, a 3.44 ERA and 131 innings pitched, 6-6 record. The starting lineup for the Seattle Mariners tonight: Julio Rodriguez, Kyle Raleigh, Jorge Polanco, Josh Naylor, Randy Arozarena. You've got Eugenio Suarez, you've got J.P. Crawford in the 7-hole, Dominic Canzone, who somehow continues to get starts for the Seattle Mariners with an 0.87 batting average, and Leo Rivas, who gets in there with a 100 batting average and in the 9-hole playing second base tonight to start. So that's the Seattle Mariners. The Blue Jays will again DH George Springer. Nathan Lukes will continue to play left field. You don't have Anthony Santander, lost injury earlier on in this series. Joey Loperfido got a little bit of action in the last game. Instead tonight, it'll be Addison Barger out there in right field, taking center field, of course, Dalton Varsho, as this Blue Jays team tries to keep the hot bats alive in this postseason thus far. You're looking at a team that's had an incredible run in this postseason and looking to try and outdo it here in game number 6 to push it on to game number 7. So Rogers Place instead of Rogers Center, yeah, that'll happen. Of course, the Oilers, friends, if you're not familiar as somebody from Toronto or from Seattle, the Oilers, the Edmonton Oilers, which is the main focus of the channel, obviously, play down at Rogers Place in Edmonton. So Rogers Center, Rogers Place, it gets confused when you're talking on the fly sometimes. So bear with me as Gillis TV points out for you. If you haven't already left a like on the stream, make sure to do that as well. Would appreciate you doing that if you have to head out, or if you want to just help out on the live stream. The likes are always appreciated. And friends, well, that is where we reach the first little lull in the live stream. Is glad to see some moderators in here tonight, and Clem, and of course Gillis TV, long-term friends of the channel at this point, probably the longest term friends of the channel at this point. So we are rolling along on the pregame edition. If you haven't had a chance yet, Boston, I think when we're talking about the Oilers goaltending, just to distract to hockey for a sec, because the Oilers again lost today. I think the Oilers goaltending is perfectly fine to start the season. Just needs to score some goals, and that's where maybe in the inverse here is for the Blue Jays, you need to prevent runs against and score some runs to win this series, but also win this game. As yeah, that's where we're at. John, I'm doing all right here tonight as we'll go take a look at the poll, which says, out of a grand total of 9 votes, well, absolutely is the answer to a Game 7. Only 1% of the votes going to, or 11%, sorry, going towards an absolutely no. So we are, closing in on first pitch here, about 38 minutes away from first pitch this evening. If you want to drop your score predictions in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. So we're hoping the Blue Jays can show up with an effort that wins a ball game and brings home game number 7. That's the weird part. With the season on the line, all you can hope for is, of course, Game 7 at this point. The Blue Jays jersey, like I said, it's off the wall. It's on me today. Not very much a fan normally of wearing the jersey. It's something more I do in the playoffs for the Oilers. So today we're doing it for the Blue Jays, as we'll hide that. And let's go get this going here, friends. The Blue Jays, the Mariners, top of the clock. It'll be interesting to see, of course, if we can get the job done against the Seattle Mariners at home, as we haven't already in this series. We have yet to do it, so stay tuned and find out, I guess, as this Blue Jays game goes down to the wire tonight. Game 6 will be an absolutely electric go. Everybody trying to get their JAYS Savage jerseys on before the game starts. So, yeah, lots of people spending lots of cash today. That much I can guarantee. 7-1 Jays, okay, 7-1 Jays would be just fine. As through 9 1/3 inning in the playoffs so far for JAYS Savage, he's allowed 5 earned runs and 4 hits against with 4 walks and 15 strikeouts. So can he continue to baffle players in the postseason? The Mariners figured him out in Game 2 of this season. It's the 6th career MLB start, both postseason and regular season, and even 3-3 split for Mr. JAYS Savage tonight. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of mix, what kind of electric plays he makes out there throwing the ball to Alejandro Kirk, because he has been absolute dynamite in most of his starts. He's had a couple rough ones, and now with the season on the line, will it be the difference between winning or losing? That will be the difference to find out. So the Jays need a chance early. That'll have to be given to them by JAYS Savage. And then the bats, obviously, if you get a good go off the top of the clock when the Blue Jays hit the plate at the bottom half of the first inning, if you can get the job done in the first inning and, score 5 or 6 runs, that would go a long way. But I doubt if that's going to happen. We're probably more lucky to scratch across 1 run, but as many runs as we can scratch across is what it's going to come down to here for the Toronto Blue Jays in game number 6 of this series here tonight. JAYS Savage, 2 starts this postseason, 9 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 walks, and 15 strikeouts. Like I said, this kid's been electric, and we got to find out if he can do it again for us here tonight, as Hazel May has Chris Bassett in the warm-up pregame stuff here, talking alongside Caleb Joseph as we get set up for today's game. Obviously, like I said, if you're just tuning in, top of the clock for the Blue Jays and the Mariners. Will get things going as JAYS Savage faces Gilbert for the Mariners. 6:03 first pitch is scheduled for here this evening. So that'll be the fun part there, friends. Of course, if you are tuning in for the first time here on Dolany TV, would love to have you aboard as a regular subscriber. I know I'm asking you to subscribe for what could potentially be the last Blue Jays game of the season, but I'm telling you, if you want to check in on the Edmonton Oilers or stay tuned with what I've got going on as we get towards another Blue Jays season, if it truly does end tonight, stay tuned. The shorts are usually going via the Blue Jays, so definitely at least some kind of Blue Jays content on the regular here on Dolany TV. So appreciate that as we get going towards the first pitch. Like I said, it's just countdown. It's the antsiness. It's the excitement. It's probably the biggest moment the Blue Jays have had in Canada since 2015, right? This is a long time coming for the Blue Jays to get back to this. 2015, 2016, I guess. 10 years, no matter how you want to look at it, as the Blue Jays really have a chance to make this country pop on a Monday night if we can push it to Game 7. Friday would be an absolute treat to watch the Blue Jays take the field, but you can't count your chickens before they hatch, and they just have to take care of business here tonight against the Seattle Mariners. That's what it comes down to. So we're waiting for this game to get underway here tonight, and if it does in a good way, will be absolutely awesome to see. So right now, a lot of the talk across sports is, of course, around, well, football, right? Football, lots of chatter around football. The Bakersfield Condors, for those of you interested, are getting underway here this evening. They will play a game, the second one of the weekend after winning last night. So we'll see what the results are. Connor Ingram picking up the win, by the way. So that's good news there as well. So we continue to wait for this one. Chris Bassett talking about Max Scherzer and his impact in that game number, what was that, game 5? Was that game 5 or was that game 4? I'm already blanking. Who started which game? It was game 5, wasn't it? Because Kevin Gausman would have started game number 5. But it's been an absolute adventure the last little bit, and now we just got to wait and see if the Blue Jays can deliver action. So it's the nerves, it's the anxiety, it's absolutely everything you can play into right now. The Blue Jays just got to show up with a result. That's really all it comes down to. Play like the season's on the line, which, again, we are 100% confident it is. It is do or die for the Blue Jays tonight. The Seattle Mariners, they can lose one and live to see tomorrow still. The Blue Jays, they aren't afforded that luxury. They thought, well, they might have had it in Seattle there early on. It was looking like the Blue Jays were going to trend towards a victory until Cal Riley and Eugenio Suarez came up with huge home runs to send the Mariners back to Toronto up in the series. And that leaves us right where we are, hoping to bring home game number 6, to take home game number 7 with a chance to eliminate the Mariners on Rogers Center Field. So we'll see what happens, but right now we're just kind of waiting for this first pitch. That's really all it comes down to at this point, is just waiting and getting to first pitch, which is scheduled for 6:03 Mountain Time. Friends, right now I'm just going to take a quick second to run upstairs and you know what, grab a drink. I'll be right back. All right, let's keep this rolling, friends. Water in the tank. We're good to go, as the Blue Jays are ready to rock and roll for tonight's first pitch at 6:03. It's going to be one heck of an opportunity to push the series to 7 and deliver us what would be an absolutely beautiful scene as a Toronto Blue Jays fan. A Game 7 at the Rogers Center to go to the World Series and face the Los Angeles Dodgers. What a moment that would be, if indeed we can get to it. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens here. But the Blue Jays, the Mariners, top of the clock. That is first pitch. For those of you just joining in for the first time here on the live stream, it's Gilbert versus Yesavage for the Blue Jays. As well, Yesavage coming up clutch in a few big moments already this year, and now with a chance to save the Blue Jays season. It'll be interesting to see how long he goes. He's gone about, what, I think only 4 innings against the Mariners this series and 5 1/3 against the Yankees earlier on in the postseason. It's Springer, it's Lucas, it's Guerrero, Kirk, Varsho, Clement, Barger, Kiner-Falefa, and Jimenez in the batting order for the Toronto Blue Jays, opposed by Rodriguez, Raleigh, Polanco, Naylor, Arozarena, Suarez, Crawford, Canzone, and Rivas here for the Seattle Mariners. As George Springer gets a big ovation, getting out on the field, doing a little bit of running. He's going to be counted on as a big-time contributor for the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. In the leadoff spot, he's been an absolute electric factory at times this postseason. 10 hits, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, a .256 average. The Blue Jays, they only have 2-3 guys under the .250 clip in this postseason so far in the lineup today. .222 for Alejandro Kirk, who still somehow had 8 hits, 3 home runs, and 7 RBIs. You've got, of course, as well, Addison Barger with 7 hits, 1 home run, 1 RBI, batting with a .241. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, like I mentioned, only 3 hits on the ledger so far, so a 4th hit would much do good things for his batting average. So that's where we're at right now. We're hoping the Blue Jays can get the job done against the Mariners. That's all it comes down to. Win, and you get to keep playing. Lose, and the season is over tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays. As you gotta, as a Jays fan, hope that pitching comes out with a brilliant performance to start. And of course, from there, you get carried home by a big offensive showing at home by the Blue Jays batters. So we'll see if that is the case here today. As we continue to roll on the pregame edition, just checking to make sure I'm not missing anything here in the storylines. I think, yeah, that's the season totals, so that's nothing to focus on right there. Like I said, this series so far, if you're tuning in for the first time and not knowing what's going on, it's been a 3-1 Seattle Mariners win at the Rogers Center back on October 12th. Then a 10-3 Mariners win on October 13th in game number 2. Go back to T-Mobile Park in Seattle. The Blue Jays light it up October 15th, 13-4. Back-to-back days, October 16th, light it up 8-2. And then the third day in a row, the Blue Jays just didn't quite have it. 6-2. The Mariners finished it up to push this series to 6 in Toronto, up 3-2. So that's where we're at right now. Of course, the injuries are a long list for the Blue Jays. You're missing Bo Bichette, you're missing Jose Barrios, you're missing Anthony Santander, you're missing Yimi Garcia, you're missing, almost everybody that matters for you, right? Ty France is out with an injury. Like, there's a ton of guys on the 60-day IL for the Blue Jays. Bowden Francis, Nick Sandlin as well. Burr, this is a list that you forgot these guys were Blue Jays. I didn't think they were still Blue Jays. They're just injured right now. And it's crazy to think that that's where the Blue Jays are currently with the situation is the bullpen. There might be a few other names you could have out there that might be a little bit better than what we got, but that's where it's incumbent today on Trey Savage to have the game of his lifetime. 5-6 innings would be absolutely electric. Try and let the offense pile up 6-7 runs here in the first few innings, and away you go with the game. So we'll see if that's the case here tonight, friends, as we get closer and closer to first pitch between the Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners. Of course, appreciate you being aboard for the ride here tonight. We've got Arden Zwelling and Shai Davidi alongside Ben Nicholson-Smith talking things over on field level right now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here this evening, as obviously it's an absolute battle so far this series. There was one comment on the short earlier today that said, man, neither team wants to lose this series, or neither team deserves to lose this series. And an update for the Blue Jays here, according to Shai Davidi, everyone is available in the elimination game here tonight. So everybody, that includes Max Scherzer, that includes probably Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman might be the only guy not available, but it looks like he is going to be available for the Blue Jays. You've got, of course, Trey Savage starting. Chris Bassett might be available out of the bullpen. There is going to be a ton to get to here for the Blue Jays tonight. Every option on the table. And, see if they can capitalize on it and pull it off against the Seattle Mariners, and then have enough left in the tank to win game number 7 tomorrow if you can get there. That's what it comes down to, though. You got to get there. And for the Blue Jays, that's all that matters here in game number 6. So appreciate you guys being aboard here this evening. Like I said earlier, it's been an absolute incredible year covering the Blue Jays since August with the YouTube shorts, and just having a little bit more fun getting back to it. The Condors, friends, if you're keeping up with them, Luke Prokop has scored the first goal of the game. It's currently 1-1 between the Condors and Coachella Firebirds. as the Coachella Firebirds came to town today, taking on the Bakersfield Condors after the Oilers lost their game against the Detroit Red Wings today. So Blue Jays versus Mariners. Problem is, Seattle leads this series 3-2, and one victory from Seattle finishes things and sets up a West Coast finale that I don't think the MLB could have ever predicted. Sorry, friends, just kicking on the humidifier here. I'll kick that off. But I don't think you would have ever been able to predict Dodgers Mariners would be a World Series. This would be the first trip to the World Series for the Seattle Mariners, and what a heck of a go it would be for their fans. Again, I really have no ill will against the Seattle Mariners fans. I think there were a couple bad eggs in the mix there when we were talking about things early on in the series, but mostly it's all been great stuff from Mariners fans so far in these playoffs, and looking forward to continuing that, win or lose tonight. And the coverage might just continue with the Mariners going on to the World Series. Might as well, right? Who knows? Again, if you're just tuning in, friends, I got to keep you updated here. So it is Springer, it is Lucas, it is Guerrero, it is Kirk, it is Varsho, it's Clement, it's Barger, it's Kiner Falefa, it's Jimenez. It's the Blue Jays batting lineup that will go up against the Seattle Mariners with a chance to push this series to 7. Of course, you know, Cal Raleigh's had an absolutely incredible postseason himself. Like, Guerrero's 5 home runs, 11 RBIs. Raleigh's at 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. And, you know, it's been a crazy go here for Trey Savage, who would definitely like to calm things down out there after posting a 4+ ERA in game number 2 of his postseason, right? 4 or 5 runs against there, and that just ends up costing you the old ERA. They just flashed that stat on Sportsnet, but I missed reading it. My apologies. But Gillis TV coming up with the Jays are going to win 4-1 to force a Game 7. That would be absolute electric factory. I cannot wait to see Rogers Center absolutely come alive for this Blue Jays game here tonight. 5:42 on the clock, friends. We are only 21 minutes away from first pitch at this point as the Blue Jays look to bring things home in this game here tonight. Of course, if you are new to the channel, I'm encouraging you to hit that subscribe button. Stay up to date no matter what. There will be a post-game short if all goes according to plan here for the Blue Jays. Hopefully a victory short of a nice post-game win discussion. If not, we'll carry on and get going with the end of season wrap-up. I think that would almost have to be a video, but we'll figure it out as we go along. Yeah, it is just now about getting a first pitch as the Blue Jays, right? You are 20 minutes away from first pitch. You're pitching your young that you got in the farm system, who's come up to the MLB and passed every test so far, and now his biggest test of his career, Trey Savage, against the Seattle Mariners with a chance to send it to 7. That's what it comes down to here tonight at the Rogers Center. So see what happens. But yeah, that's the challenge ahead of the Blue Jays. They are pitching their youngest pitcher in the rotation. They're pitching a guy who only has a 6 combined MLB start record, and a guy who, you know, is built for this. I think that's the big question. He has answered the question by saying he's built for this. And now, well, will he live up to the hype here in game number 6? That is the question we're all asking ourselves as we get closer and closer to first pitch against the Seattle Mariners. For the Mariners, Gilbert, of course, pitching in a critical game, a potential clinching game for the Mariners. Gilbert's been around there for a little while with Seattle, and a guy who definitely deserves the right to close out this series if he gets a chance. Rodriguez, Raleigh, Polanco, Naylor, Arozarena, Suarez, Crawford, Canzone, Rivas is the lineup that the Seattle Mariners will send the Blue Jays way for ALCS game number 6 as action gets underway, friends, in about 18 minutes. The countdown is on. I cannot wait to see what the Blue Jays do here tonight. Like I said, still waiting word from the hospital on what I'm doing the rest of the night as opposed to doing this whole live stream. So just waiting to see if that will be the case, if I have to dip out early, but we'll see. As we're going back to October 19th, 2015, Blue Jays versus Royals. Kevin Pillar out there in center field making a beautiful grab. Man, you forget these highlights after too much time, don't you? As it was an incredible game there against the Royals, that's for sure. Incredible memories, to be honest with you. It's Kevin Pillar diving into home plate. scoring that run there. Oh, man, look at all the old guys, man. What a treat that is. Pilar, Russell Martin running home. Josh Donaldson hitting a home run. What a time to be a Blue Jays fan. As the Blue Jays defeated the Royals 11-8. John Gibson even gets a little bit of camera time in that short little thing. Is the 2015 East ALDS champs. 2016 AL Wildcard ALDS champs. Incredible as Kevin Pilar now joins. That figures. Kevin Pilar joins the panel here alongside Hazel May, Caleb Joseph at field level for what is ALCS game number 6 between the Blue Jays and Seattle Mariners. The Mariners do lead the Blue Jays 3-2 in this series. It's win or go home for the Toronto Blue Jays tonight, though the Seattle Mariners can can end the series, or the Blue Jays can force Game 7. Friends, I don't know if you've caught this tuning in yet. The Blue Jays jersey on here for this one. The Canada Day special jersey, as we will go back to Kansas City series one more time, as Jose Bautista in the top of the 8th hitting a home run to make it 3-3. Jose Bautista, what an absolute man he was in that series in 2015. And then all of a sudden, the run that scores, what is that, Lorenzo Cain there wearing number 6? I think so. All the way home from first on a double down the line. And that, well, was the end of it all for the Blue Jays. But, you know, it's history is what it is. And the Blue Jays have a chance to write some new stuff today. So we'll see if that is the case this evening, as Trey Savage takes to the mound for the Blue Jays against Logan Gilbert, who is trying to close out the Blue Jays and trying to close out what's been an incredible series from both teams thus far. Would be fantastic to see somebody, you know, like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. have what we've already thought is the game of his life against the New York Yankees. Well, if he can do it here tonight against the Seattle Mariners, that would be absolutely electric. A chance to make Blue Jays history here, force that Game 7, and go to the World Series if you can win tomorrow. It all comes down to really first pitch in about, well, nice part is I've stalled again, 16 minutes time. Friends, thank you so much for being aboard here on the stream. Appreciate you hanging out. This is already going a lot better than I thought it would, right? For being a primarily Oilers channel over the past 10 years at this point. Really, the video game and Blue Jays content kind of went away in early 2017. So I guess 8 years at this point. Let's take a chance to look at the poll here. Game 7, 76% of you are saying absolutely. 24% say absolutely no. So we'll see if this is the case here tonight. So Inspirato is saying that he's grateful for a Blue Jays game today after my beloved Oilers fell to the Red Wings. Let's hope they can brighten my Sunday. I said, well, this is what I said. I'm ready for disappointment today with the Blue Jays and the Oilers playing. The best outcome is 2 wins. The most likely outcome is 2 losses. Can we split the difference and be A-okay? The Oilers, they live to fight several more days here at the NHL level. But the Blue Jays, they live to only fight today if they lose today. So, you know what? Live to fight another day. That would be fantastic to see out of our Toronto Blue Jays here this evening. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But just staying tuned. I want to quickly check, make sure I'm not missing anything here as I get the 15 minutes to first pitch notification on the old phone. That's huge. Excited to see the Blue Jays throw out that first pitch right here shortly. So, yeah, we are closing in on first pitch in only a matter of moments here as the Blue Jays getting set up for what could be a special game tonight. Game 6 to go on to number 7 tomorrow would be absolutely special. I think that's the big thing. You got to take in the fact that this doesn't come around very often for the Blue Jays, right? Once every 10 or 20 years. So for us this evening to get a chance to watch the Blue Jays in Game 6 of the ALCS still alive and a chance to force it to game number 7. That's a special dang moment right there, and we're going to enjoy the heck out of it here as we get closer and closer to first pitch this evening. We are only 13 minutes away from things getting underway between the Blue Jays and Mariners. Trey Savage will throw out the first pitch for the Blue Jays and try and bang home a pretty incredible game here for the Blue Jays. Like I said, you savage for the Blue Jays to have a shot at winning this one, or it's going to have to go 5 innings, if not 6, to try and just offset a Blue Jays offense that, you know, against the Mariners at home hasn't quite mustered up what it needs to. It did it on the road in games 3 and 4, but not in game 2 and game 1 of the series. 3-1, 10-3 finals for the Seattle Mariners at Rogers Center. So far in this series, the Blue Jays scoring combined 4 runs. You know, there is possibility they win this game with 4 runs, but they need to score 4 runs to do that. So, yeah, that's where it's at. And, of course, a little shot at the Toronto Maple Leafs in there as well. Wayne Sperado saying, yeah, it's at least only 10 to 20 years for this Toronto sports team. And that's the nice part. Like, as an Oilers fan, we don't usually like the Toronto Maple Leafs, but in terms of the Toronto Blue Jays, that's national pride on the line right there. And the Blue Jays, a chance to do Canada proud, win the next 2 games. And as much as I can tell you, it's probably lights out against the Los Angeles Dodgers, given the fact of they are just the biggest super team you're ever going to see. Hey, who cares? Get to the World Series. That's all that matters. That's 2 guaranteed games at home, and really just a special moment to be a part of in sports history when your team is in the World Series. So stay tuned, friends. First pitch is coming up here shortly, 5:51 at this point on the clock. I'm going to go quickly take a second to refill the water bottle before we get to things too crazy. I'll be right back with more here in a second. All right, let's do this, friends. We are 10 minutes away from first pitch this evening. Game 6, Toronto-Seattle, as the Blue Jays try to get this job done here this evening, as hopefully it comes together for them this evening. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. taking a second there on the field. Everybody taking a second to get this going, as Kevin Gausman, he threatened the fans at Rogers Center, saying, if I see someone sitting, I will throw gum at you. And that, I'm sure Gausman's a kind of serious guy. I know he's kidding, but I'm not sure he's kidding. If you catch that drift, as he says, to try and find out. You know, we can't say something else as a member of the Blue Jays, but hey, it's fine. All right, friends, let's go quickly through this Blue Jays batting lineup, through the Mariners lineup one more time for those of you that just joined up here briefly. Trey Savage starts for the Blue Jays. George Springer leads off. He's back. Don't worry about him. Nathan Lucas in the 2-hole. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the 3-hole. Alejandro Kirk cleans up. Dalton Varsho, number 5. Ernie Clement, number 6. Addison Barger, 7, out there in right field. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa takes over at second base, and Andre Jimenez cleans it up there in the 9-hole with the shortstop position. Every single Blue Jays player in this lineup tonight has a grand total of 3 or more hits. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leading the way with a .457 average and 16 hits, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs. That's what you need to know about the Blue Jays this evening. Julio Rodriguez, who, well, he lit up the Blue Jays early in this series. Playing center field, leading off for the Seattle Mariners. Cal Raleigh in the 2 spot, 4 homers, 7 RBIs so far this postseason. Jorge Polanco in the 3-hole. Josh Naylor, who is leading alongside Cal Raleigh with the team in hits with 13 in the 4-hole. Randy Arozarena, number 5. Eugenio Suarez with the big home run. Yeah, he got that job done there, didn't he? In the 6-hole, J.P. Crawford hitting 7th with 7 hits on the ledger so far this postseason. Dominic Canzone, you know, if anyone's going to end the Blue Jays' hopes, it's a guy who hasn't done much, if anything at all, this series, and that being Dominic Canzone. Leo Rivas comes in with 1 hit in 10 at-bats with an RBI on the ledger as well. So that is where we find ourselves here this evening, friends, ready to get going. First pitch, just 8 minutes away at this point. now 24 votes on the poll. 79% of you saying, will there be a Game 7? Absolutely, and I like to see it as the Blue Jays get set up for Game 6 of the ALCS this evening against the Seattle Mariners. I cannot wait to see this get underway. Obviously, it's going to be special. Like I said, I might have to dip out depending on what the word is, but hey, we should be fine to go at least a little bit here already live for what now? Let's quickly check here. Live for already a grand total of 40 minutes here on the live stream this evening, so appreciate you hanging out with me tonight as the Blue Jays and the Mariners get underway in just a few minutes time here at the Rogers Center. Dan Schulman, Buck Martinez in the booth for the Blue Jays. Sportsnet broadcasting the ALCS. That's a moment we've long waited for, right? To have a Canadian broadcast of the postseason, and now getting it here in 2025. Dan Schulman in the booth against for the Blue Jays as Buck Martinez out there smiling as well. Happy to be along for the ride as the Blue Jays and Mariners get underway in just over 10 minutes time here. So yeah, that's where we find ourselves, friends. If you're an Oilers fan, keeping up with Bakersfield Condors game tonight, it's not going so well for the Condors here as Coachella takes a 2-point lead, 3-1 in the first period. So a tough go there. Trey Savage getting ready to march his way down to the mound here. Kirk in the bullpen there warming up. It's a Trey day for the Toronto Blue Jays, and I cannot wait as well to see the Blue Jays get things going here in this game against the Seattle Mariners. Trey Savage ready to walk on down out of the bullpen to the mound here for Toronto. George Springer is good to go. He is ready to rock and roll for this evening. Trey Savage against Logan Gilbert. Like I said, Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, Jorge Polanco, Josh Naylor, Randy Arozarena, Eugenio Suarez, J.P. Crawford, Dominic Canzone, Leo Rivas. The lineup that Trey Savage will face to start tonight's ball game. 6:03 Mountain Time. First pitch for the Blue Jays. We are one opening pitch away. The first pitch goes to Jose Bautista this evening. Oh, you betcha. Strike right down the middle, as that's kind of his thing. Didn't he try to take up pitching when his career was ending there at the very finish? Well, he ends up getting the pitch down to Davis Schneider, who will not see the lineup tonight for the Blue Jays. It'll be George Springer, Nathan Lucas, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You've got Alejandro Kirk, Dalton Varsho, Ernie Clement, Addison Barger, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and of course, Andre Jimenez rounding it out. This is the Blue Jays squad that will take on the Mariners and try and get things going in the first inning of this game, and then try and get things going in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on and so forth as the Blue Jays look to try and force Game 7. That's what it all comes down to here tonight, friends. Win and you keep playing. Lose and it's all finished after 9+ innings here tonight for the Blue Jays. Late inning dramatics, oh my goodness, could you imagine if we queued that up as the Blue Jays tonight? That would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? But that also runs the risk that you don't win. So trying to win and win convincingly in 9 innings, that's got to be the goal here for the Blue Jays this evening against the Seattle Mariners as we are closing in, like I said, on first pitch. We are 5 minutes away, 6:03 on your clock down here as the Blue Jays look to get the job done against Seattle in Game 6. He is Savage. He has been absolutely brilliant all season long for the Blue Jays. Just a wonderful surprise coming out of nowhere. A guy that was highly touted to be special and ends up indeed living up to that billing. Now a moment that he is built for. Can he live up to it? That is the question that he will answer this evening against the Seattle Mariners. The Blue Jays have yet to win a game at home in the ALCS. The Blue Jays have 2 in Seattle. The Mariners have 1 in Seattle, but 2 at the Rogers Center thus far. So stay tuned, buckle up, lights up, let's go. The Blue Jays looking to get this job done here this evening against Seattle. It's Trey Savage's first pitch in about 4 minutes time. Friends, I'm excited to have you along. Appreciate you hanging out here on the live stream. Of course, if you've been along for the pregame portion, appreciate that as well. Consider hitting that subscribe button. There might only be one more Blue Jays postgame tonight, but I've got a feeling we're going 7. So the Blue Jays have been absolutely special all series long, and so too have been the Mariners. And going only 6 doesn't fit the script of this series here. Is just win is all we got to do here this evening, as we got to get going into game number 7 with a chance to clinch then. But first, take care of business here tonight. As the Blue Jays and Mariners, things didn't quite go the Blue Jays' way in Game 5. Crushing defeat against Seattle. And now you've got a chance to redeem yourself on home field with a chance to push it to 7. That's the big thing. There is a whole lot to be happy about if you're a Blue Jays fan this postseason so far. But the happiest memories are about to be made right here, right now. Friends, we are 3 minutes away from first pitch as the Blue Jays broadcast playing the home opening credits, basically, right? The home montage. That's going to be an absolute electric factory here if you were listening with full volume. Unfortunately, I'm not, so I hope you're enjoying the heck out of that as Alejandro Kirk, Dalton Varsho, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., they're going to have to come up with some huge, huge moments tonight. Trey Savage, imagine the Rogers Place erupting if he strikes out the first batter he faces tonight. They have absolutely loved having that kid pitch for him at home. And if he can do it again here this evening, it would be absolutely special to see him punch out a few batters in a row here tonight against the Seattle Mariners. It's Game 6, Blue Jays, Mariners, everything on the line for the Toronto Blue Jays as we queue up Game 6 and first pitch in just a matter of a few seconds. The Blue Jays ready to take the field here as it is first pitch at Rogers Center. Mariners, Blue Jays, what a night it is. The stands as full as they can be inside a packed Rogers Center to try and take home this all deciding really Game 6 for the Mariners or push it to 7 for the Toronto Blue Jays. It is an effort that is going to be not taken lightly by Trey Savage as the Toronto Blue Jays take to the field. The white panel hats back on. There was a lot made about that the other night. Well, the white panel hats are back on as the white uniforms out there for the Blue Jays. Trey Savage walking to the mound as he takes the mound now, picks up the ball, and we are about set to do this thing, friends. The Blue Jays, the Mariners, John Schneider in the dugout here for the Blue Jays. He will take to his position and see what the Blue Jays can do. Cal Raleigh warming up in the on-deck circle. I would expect full well that if you see him come up with nobody aboard, so i.e. Julio Rodriguez gets either punched out or thrown out or something in the way, Cal Raleigh may get walked intentionally by the Blue Jays to start this ball game. Julio Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, Polanco, the batters at least scheduled for this inning should the Blue Jays go up 3 down there to start the top of the first. So here we go. Trey Savage throwing a few warm-up pitches here. The Blue Jays infield getting a couple of tosses in, and we are just about set to get this thing going, friends. Trey Savage, ALCS Game 2, 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Still averaged a strikeout an inning. Can he bump up those numbers tonight and see if he can start producing a little bit more in terms of results in this ALCS than he did in Game 2 against the Mariners? He throws his final warm-up pitch. Here we go. Jays live on Dolany TV. Let's do it. 1-2, Trey strikeouts. You're out. Let's do it. Strikes, you're out. That's what it should say. Sorry, my apologies. I can't even read signs. I'm so jacked up. This is where we're at. We're going to see if the Blue Jays can do the job here. A pan of the crowd as walking up to the plate is Julio Rodriguez. Trey Savage gets ready. A little bit of time called as Trey Savage takes a moment to let the Blue Jays fans rally up. A classy signal from a starter ready to do damage here in game number 6. Julio Rodriguez strides into the box now. Blue Jays, Mariners, let's do it. First pitch as Rodriguez waiting to take the at bat. For some reason, the umpire's holding off first pitch a few minutes late. And now here we go. Rodriguez strides in to the plate. The strike zone overlaid by the Sportsnet broadcast. Let's do it. Savage's first pitch skied up into center field by Rodriguez. Backpedaling his Varsho. Bang! The Blue Jays get the first out of the inning, the first out of the game. Trey Savage, 1 pitch, 1 down as Cal Raleigh comes up to the plate. And you got to assume The intentional walk is full well on the board here. Is that big blast there to left field an absolute mammoth of a home run despite barely getting over the fence. It was a towering shot, but it still goes over nonetheless. And now Raleigh will stride into the box here. Savage will get set to face him, so no intentional walk here for the Blue Jays. Second pitch of the ball game, Savage delivers a ball into the other batter's box, off the ground into Kirk's glove. Ball number 1. 333, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, buck, 127 OPS for Cal Raleigh this postseason thus far. Here we go. John Schneider, Pete Walker watching on. First pitch of the at-bat was a ball. Second pitch, it's a strike. It's 1-1 for Trey Savage. Postseason whiff rate in the ALDS was 58.1%. ALCS was 22.6. Here's pitch number 3. Raleigh grounds it along the line, and they will rule that foul. So it is a 1-2 count against Cal Raleigh, who lives to fight another pitch here. 4 pitches in, Savage is throwing 3 strikes. Not a bad start to the ball game if you're the young rook on the mound in Game 6 for the Toronto Blue Jays here. As he's trying to bring things home, Savage will stride up back to the rubber. Raleigh settles into the box once more. In the left-hand side batter's box, here's the pitch. It's a ball high and outside. Ball number 2, Raleigh batting from the left side in this at-bat here. So we'll see what he can produce in a 2-2 count. Josh Naylor waiting out there, trying to get going himself. He's leading the team in hits so far in this series. Here's Savage in there. Strike 3 swinging against Cal Raleigh, and that will sit down the first 2 of the game. Trey Savage, a beautiful pitch, gets the job done, and that is 2 up, 2 down. And the Blue Jays will try and face the minimum here. Swung right through it, did Raleigh. And there it is. We will have the third batter of the inning, a chance to get out of the inning clean here, at least to start for the Blue Jays. Polanco, the third batter for the Mariners, a .225 average here in this postseason so far. Savage deals. It's a strike swinging. First pitch, first strike, 2 out. So far, so good. 7 pitches in for Trey Savage and the Toronto Blue Jays. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs for Jorge Polanco, who sees a ball go outside. And that will be ball number 1. Raleigh getting the catcher's gear on almost immediately off that strikeout. Here's Polanco in the 1-1 count now, looking to take this pitch for a ride. It is deep. It is back. Barger at the warning track. He catches it. So that is out number 3 for the Toronto Blue Jays. Trey Savage, a couple of pitches extra in that inning, maybe to Cal Raleigh and Jorge Polanco, but no damage done as he gets out there, throws down, and gets the outs that will lead the Blue Jays now to what is a bottom of the first, tied 0-0. What an opportunity here for the Blue Jays offense now to strike first, as a clean inning for Trey Savage gets the job done. Absolutely electric start to the game there for Savage. Just kind of mowed him down, a couple fly balls and a strikeout. Gets the job done, at least to start. So we'll see what happens here as we get to the bottom half of the first inning for the Blue Jays. Up next will be, of course, why don't I have the live game? We're in the middle of the first, that's why. But up for the Blue Jays, it'll be Springer, it'll be Lucas, it'll be Guerrero Jr. as the Blue Jays look to try and break this thing out of a 0-0 game. Their first at-bats of the game in what was a first inning that, hey, if you're looking back from a Blue Jays fan perspective, that's a heck of a start for Trey Savage. Only about 8-9 pitches and 3 up, 3 down to start ALCS game number 6 after a rocky go in game number 2. So he's back out there looking to bring the Blue Jays home a victory that very well could determine this series, right? If the Blue Jays win here and win convincingly behind Trey Savage because of a good performance that goes the distance, at least 5-6 innings, unlike most Blue Jays pitching this postseason so far. If it goes a good while, well, the Blue Jays bullpen and some of the starters will be rested, and that'll give us a chance to throw everything at the wall to win Game 7 against the Mariners tomorrow. So that's where we're sitting. It's bottom of the first. The Blue Jays about set to bat here. We're just on commercial break as we try and bring home this game number 6. We're only a half inning in, but it's looked good so far from a Blue Jays fan perspective. Kara, yeah, absolutely. Let's go Blue Jays. As yeah, it's been a good start as George Springer, Nathan Lucas, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will lead this bottom of the first off for the Blue Jays. Ernie Clements had an incredible postseason as well. .429 batting average thus far for Ernie. Logan Gilbert, ALCS Game 2 victory. 3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. The Blue Jays got to grind out at bats against him, knock him out early. He only had 58 pitches in 3 innings, so really not even 20 per inning, but still, grind out some at-bats early. You know, Trey Savage didn't have to work very hard. And here's George Springer getting set to take to the plate here for the Blue Jays. After what happened in game number 5, an injury that knocked him out of the game, he gives the umpire ready to go. Blue Jays fans are standing on their feet. And we'll see if they can get this job done here to bring home a swing from George Springer that might in one swing unbreak this tie. First pitch from Gilbert, first of his night. From the mound, set and deliver. Here it comes. Logan Gilbert high and inside. Ball number 1 to George Springer. Springer backs out of the box, takes a bend, cracks the back, and here we go. .256 batting average, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs for George Springer. Gilbert set to deliver again. His second pitch of the game. It's a 1-0 count for George Springer. Here is the pitch delivered by Gilbert. Will be in the zone. A looping little slider or curveball that gets George Springer right down to a knee, trying to belt that one out of the park. But that said, it's a swing and a miss, and George Springer will end up, you know, missing that first pitch for a 1-1 count. Here's Gilbert, the third pitch of the at-bat. He'll deliver to the plate. Springer skies it. Up out of play. It'll be strike number 2, a foul ball. And Gilbert now quickly, already 3 pitches in this at-bat. 8 extra base hits this postseason. Tied most in the MLB for George Springer. He's been an electric factory as per usual for the Blue Jays, as Gilbert will deliver another pitch here for the Seattle Mariners. His 4th of the ball game to Springer, skied backwards again, and Springer knows he's not getting all of those balls, nonetheless any of them on that first swing. So now a 1-2 count that's chewed up at least 5 pitches to start the night for Logan Gilbert and the Seattle Mariners. It's one of those starts to the game where the Blue Jays want to try and build batter by batter, take pitches, grind at bats, and try and wear down the Mariners pitching. Not a screaming fly ball to right field, goes about 100 feet foul, but the Blue Jays there for a second might almost have a little bit of luck to the opposite field. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on deck after this batter here for Springer. It'll be Lucas up to bat after, and then Guerrero waiting on deck circle. Lucas works magic for Guerrero this postseason so far. Ken Springer right here, pitch number 6 of the at-bat. Low, and the umpire doesn't call it a strike. It looked like it might have clipped the zone a little bit on its way through, but it's a 2-2 count to the Seattle Mariners. Or sorry, to the Toronto Blue Jays. George Springer, and it's the Seattle Mariners now. 7 pitches deep with Logan Gilbert to begin this ball game. Still nobody out. Springer still at the dish. Ball number 3, a looping slider or curveball up top of the zone there. And it's a 3-2 count. Loaded up here. Nobody on bag. Obviously, first batter of the ball game for Springer. As we load up one more pitch here from Logan Gilbert. 7 pitches into the night so far. Remember the efficiency Trey Savage had in that. Well, you know what? First inning of play here to start things in the top half. Here's the pitch now from Gilbert. Number 8 of the game. He's set, fires, deliver, fouled back by George Springer again. It's going out into foul territory near the wall and trying to get there. Quite finish that one off. So it'll be, well, a chance for George Springer to see pitch number 9 of the at-bat here against Logan Gilbert. Like I said, pitch efficiency is the key here as this game goes along. The more outs you get for the less pitches thrown, the better off your team's going to be as the game keeps going. Is the pitch now from Logan Gilbert, delivered to George Springer. Pitch number 9 of the game for the Mariners. It's in there, broken bat, and it is going to bloop in on Suarez in foul territory. He will make the catch. That broken bat came close to catching him as well. But hey, you know what? It's an out nonetheless for the Mariners, but a job well done by the leadoff man, George Springer, to chew up 9 pitches for the Seattle Mariners. Logan Gilbert, and that one got in on the hands and absolutely ate up the bat of George Springer. That bat just kind of splintered away and was kind of at the feet of Eugenio Suarez as he sprinted over to try and catch that ball in foul territory. So Nathan Lucas comes up for the Toronto Blue Jays. First pitch of the at-bat is in there for a ball, apparently. So this umpire already missing some balls and strikes here to begin this ball game. That one was fully in the zone according to pitch tracking on the Sportsnet broadcast. Here's Logan Gilbert lining up for his 11th pitch of the inning so far. 0-1 count to Lucas, who looks at strike number 1 for the Toronto Blue Jays there. A 1-1 count with 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. The Blue Jays, Seattle Mariners scoreless thus far, as Lucas will continue to grind out the at-bat with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. now waiting on deck. Lucas has worked some magic so far in this postseason. Ball number 2 to the Blue Jays' second hitter of the ball game as he lines up back in the box again. Logan Gilbert starting to work a little bit quicker here as this pitch count creeps up here, as he will wait to deliver, and here he comes with the 13th pitch already as Lucas delivers a slapped ball lefty batter into right field, gets it to the right fielder for a base hit, and that'll be a man on with 1 out for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to start this ball game. Mark, welcome aboard, as yes indeed, we are going to get things going here in game number 6. The Blue Jays, the first hit of the ball game, with a chance to get it going, as it looks like unfortunately the kiddo is out of the hospital, so he's crashed out. So I think we'll be going the distance here tonight. That's good news. Guerrero Jr. up at the plate here for the Blue Jays. Logan Gilbert kicks, delivers. The pitch fouled back by Vladdy in the first pitch of the at-bat. Now 14 pitches into the game for Logan Gilbert, who's starting to lose a little bit of that pitch efficiency here. Obviously only getting the 1 out so far, and 15 pitches at least to get out of this inning, minimum required at this point. Gilbert set to deliver to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in an 0-1 count with 1 away in the bottom of the first. Here's the pitch. It's down low outside for ball 1. It's a 1-1 count. Now Gilbert, 15 pitches into his outing. The Blue Jays doing a good job grinding things out here tonight. 8 postseason extra base hits in 2025, third most in club history. As here's the next pitch from Gilbert. Lines up to throw to Guerrero. He's been taken to 3 on the pitch clock every single time. Guerrero up the middle. It's a chopper trying to get that out at home or second base. And there it is, play. At first, Guerrero Jr. grounds into a fielder's choice, but he's safe at 1. Don't know why I want to say home. It was just a weird play with the man standing at second trying to catch that ball. But hey, haven't called baseball in a while. Pardon my takes. As we are getting things going here with a chance for Guerrero now to run. Is that one right up over top of the mound, over top of Gilbert, and a perfect bounce to second base. But Vladdy safe, well in time of the throw to first after the play at second. And now with 1 out, or 2 outs, sorry, in the bottom of the first, Alejandro Kirk draws in with a .222 batting average for the Toronto Blue Jays, looking to bang home the first run of the game, maybe with an extra base hit if Kirk can do it right part of the field. Here's Gilbert, his 17th pitch of the game so far. He kicks, delivers, and Alejandro Kirk, it's been a trend here. The first pitch of the at-bat being fouled off by the Blue Jays. Is this just the first pitch kind of is a light up pitch from Logan Gilbert, and it's been a one the Blue Jays haven't minded looking at or swinging at, and so far so good. No damage done on the first pitch through 4 batters for the Blue Jays, as Gilbert will deliver pitch number 18 in on Kirk. The sky ball to right field. It's going into the corner. It is foul. It goes right into the very, very, very little piece of the corner that's left in right field against the wall at Rogers Center, and immediately the Blue Jays are on the replay telephone trying to check things out, saying it's all good, as this one goes right off of the outfield wall in foul territory, about 2 feet foul, really, 4 or 5 feet maybe on that replay. What a chance, what a look for Alejandro Kirk. What a start that would have been for the Blue Jays. It's going to take 19 pitches minimum from Gilbert, but it's an 0-2 count now against Alejandro Kirk with 2 outs in the bottom half of the first inning here. The Blue Jays looking to come alive one more time in this inning. It was Nathan Lucas getting on board. Guerrero Jr. fielder's choice standing at first. And now Kirk, 0-2 count, looking to push Gilbert to at least 20 pitches in this first inning here. against the Blue Jays batting lineup. So here we go. Kirk draws into the box, steadies up. He's ready to go. Gilbert set to deliver pitch number 19 of the inning. He delivers, and it's swung on and missed by Alejandro Kirk. That's the end of the first inning for the Blue Jays. And just like that, we will go to the second. Trey Yesavage back up to the mound. No runs scored thus far as the Blue Jays and Mariners remain in the scoreless tie. What a start to this ball game. That much is for sure. Friends, thank you so much for being aboard for the ride here on Dolany TV. I will remind you, if you are new to the channel, would love to have you hit that subscribe button. I know Blue Jays baseball might very well be over tonight. I understand it's do or die, but if you want to hit that subscribe button and come back for a little bit of Edmonton Oilers talk, or stay tuned for some Blue Jays off-season talk, would love to have you aboard as a regular viewer here on the channel. Appreciate that if you've already hit the subscribe button tonight. So that is where we are at this evening. So just catching up here as he's crashed out, and yeah, that's where it's at. We are just waiting for this Blue Jays game to resume action here in the next little bit, friends. It's been a crazy start to the game. Trey Yesavage with a strikeout to Cal Raleigh. Obviously, the Blue Jays starting the game throwing 3 up, 3 down from Yesavage, and then getting 2 men aboard in the first inning, leaving 1 man left on base, though, to close out the inning. That's not exactly a strong start, but what do? Hey, the Blue Jays will recover, and we'll try and finish off this game with a solid start here in this second inning for Trey Yesavage, as he's, like I said, got to try and go 5 or 6 innings today. 7 would be absolutely incredible if he could do it, but that's pushing it right there. So we'll stay tuned and see. Quick check on the Condors game, see what's happening out there in Bakersfield tonight. King is back in the castle, yes indeed, back for the second period. So the Condors back out there for the second period as of the last update, as we'll try and get things going here in this one. So Trey Yesavage, Kevin Gausman, almost everybody is an option for the Blue Jays outside of maybe Kevin Gausman here tonight for the Blue Jays pitching. So see what we can do against the Seattle Mariners batting lineup, as it is going to be Yesavage delivering a couple of warm-up pitches here to start this second inning. Bottom of the first, which again, when you're talking about pitch efficiency, was absolutely clutch out of the Toronto Blue Jays, chewing up 19 pitches out of 1 Logan Gilbert. So he only went 58 last time in 3 innings. So the Blue Jays already chew up 19. Again, 19, 19, 19, right? 57, right in that same ballpark. Don't say it ain't possible if you're the Blue Jays when it comes to knocking Gilbert out by the 3rd or 4th inning. So here we go. Let's get this job done. Trey Yesavage to the mound, ready to take on the next set of batters for the Seattle Mariners here in inning number 2. Josh Naylor, the first batter for the Seattle Mariners. 3 up, 3 down. The Mariners went last inning. First pitch of the inning for Trey Yesavage. Counted a strike. Swinging by Josh Naylor, and that's the thing. His whiff rate was only 22% in game number 2 of the ALCS against the Mariners. So it'll be interesting to see if Trey Yesavage can up that whiff rate a little bit here tonight. So far, he has. And, of course, a better whiff rate, more strikeouts, more things here. So let's see what we can do as we'll get the pitch going for Trey Yesavage inside. And it is fouled off at the bottom of the zone by Josh Naylor for strike number 2. 0-2 count with nobody out here. Trey Yesavage trying to light it up with pitch number 12 against Josh Naylor here to pitch 12 of the game. That's what I'm talking about, efficiency so far for Trey Yesavage. He gets him swinging, an absolute gem of a pitch outside. Naylor knew it the whole way that was a bad pitch to swing at, and that's the second strikeout of the game for Trey Yesavage here in ALCS Game 6, Mariners versus Blue Jays. We are lighting up what could be an absolute miraculous start here for Trey Yesavage, similar to what we saw against the Yankees. 2 strikeouts in 4 batters. Can Yesavage deliver another one here against the next batter for the Seattle Mariners, Randy Arozarena, who's had himself a good postseason as well. Arozarena glides into the box here. $150 average. Well, I guess maybe not so much. I thought maybe he was just good early on in the series. Anyway, here's the pitch from Yesavage in there. Strike number 1 at 88 mile an hour, as it'll be an 0-1 count with 1 out here in this second inning of play. My goodness, this is getting nerve-wracking. This is getting really exciting here to be part of, friends. Delivering Savage inside on a Rosarena, ball one. Savage just now to 14 pitches. Again, it'll be interesting to see where he's at with pitch number 19 as compared to where Logan Gilbert was by the end of the first inning. So here's another pitch from Savage swinging, and he got a Rosarena to go around. It's weird, these swings from the Mariners. It's like they know they shouldn't swing, yet they are. As you just look at the pitch here from Savage, and for some reason the Mariners are just baffled by it. It is what it is. It's pitch in there. Rosarena fouls it off left field into the stands. A good swing there, but it'll go into the stands, and it'll remain 1-2 as pitch number 17 upcoming from Savage. There is one out here in the top half of the second inning for the Seattle Mariners. As the pitch delivered by Savage in there, swinging and a missing, is a Rosarena for the third strikeout of the night, and second out of the second inning for Trey Savage, as the Blue Jays trying to bring home this second inning now quickly through two batters. What a start we go here, as Trey Savage lighting it up the same as he did last time round. Eugenio Suarez draws into the box here. Randy Rosarena suffers the same fate as Josh Naylor before him. Savage delivers outside, ball number one to Eugenio Suarez, who's lit up the ALCS 6 for 19, 316 batting average with 2 homers and 6 RBIs. Here's the pitch from Savage, skied high by Suarez, up and out of play for strike number one. It's a 1-1 count with 2 away here in the top half of the second. The Blue Jays getting an effort so far through 19 pitches from Trey Savage that has them 2 strikes away from getting the 4th strikeout of the game, and 3 outs. Is delivering as Savage, top of the zone, gets the call. It is a 1-2 count with 20 pitches on the ledger for Trey Savage. Everybody in the Rogers Center standing and clapping, getting loud as Trey Savage tries to strike out the side here against the middle of the order for the Seattle Mariners. A pitch on the outside, and he can't get the swing from Eugenio Suarez. So that's where we're at as the Blue Jays try to bring this back home here in this 2-2 count. As Savage in there, Suarez fouls it off again, the same part of the stands he already fouled it off to earlier. So it's a 2-2 count that remains with now 23 pitches upcoming for Trey Savage to start this ball game. What a start it's been. 3 strikeouts already, trying to find the pitch that puts away Eugenio Suarez, as Savage will draw up to the mound. Here it comes, throwing the pitch in at the bottom of the zone. Punch him out! It's the 4th of the game for Trey Savage, and it is the 3rd out of the inning as Savage back to his old tricks. 2 strikeouts per inning after punching out the side. Here in the second, Trey Savage at the bottom of the strike zone, at the knees on Suarez, knows it, nods away, and walks off the mound. Done and dusted. A second scoreless inning for Trey Savage here in this top half of the second. Friends, if you are new to the channel and joining along for the first time, I would love if you could hit that subscribe button here on Dolany TV. I know I'm asking a lot, but again, I want the Blue Jays to be a part of the channel, and I can only do that if you're watching. So I appreciate that here on Dolany TV tonight. So far, so good on the live stream. Appreciate everybody hanging out thus far. It's been an absolute electric factory watching these Blue Jays do business here in Game 6 of the ALCS so far. Numbers looking good back on my end, friends. 30 hours combined on the live stream thus far, and an hour and 13 minute stream. Not bad at all. As the Blue Jays go to the bottom half of the second inning, well, tied 0-0 with the Seattle Mariners. Varsho, Clement, Barger due up here in this, what is going to be bottom half of the second inning. 1 hit for the Blue Jays, 1 left on, and 4 strikeouts thus far for the Seattle Mariners at the hands of Trey Savage, who has lit them up to start things going. Amanda, thanks for joining the board on the stream this evening as we get things going towards now the bottom of the second. Just a quick commercial break here for the Blue Jays, as it's been a heck of a go here this evening. But the Blue Jays and the Mariners, the dramatics are far from done yet. I can tell you that much, as we've got ourselves a game ahead of us. Give me a second here, friends. I'm going to quickly run to go change something. Well, now that we've got word that we're in it for the long haul, let's do this, friends. Let's get into the comfortable pants and let's do this whole thing. As the Blue Jays trying to take home Game 6 to push it to Game 7. There's a Tulowitzki jersey in the audience tonight. Well, you would remember the last few runs before this one would have featured Troy Tulowitzki as Trey Savage on the mound right now for the Blue Jays, trying to bring home this Game 6 as leading into the box to start the bottom of the second. It is Dalton Varsho for the Toronto Blue Jays against Logan Gilbert, who's already thrown 19 pitches. Here struck out the last batter he faced. And here delivering strike number 1 is Gilbert. An 0-1 count to Varsho just like that. Varsho batting .250 with 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, a 2 for 20. ALCS thus far, 7 strikeouts on the ledger. So Varsho's definitely been victim to the Seattle Mariners pitching. Here's another delivery from Gilbert. Right there, Varsho clubs it up into the gap. It's going to go, but it's off the glove of Rodriguez. That should get Varsho to second. He's in there easily. It is a man at second base in scoring position with nobody out in the bottom half of the second inning as Varsho off of the glove of Julio Rodriguez on the bounce. He buys it, and he gets to second just like that. What a solid swing there from Varsho. Nice and compact. The bounce off of Rodriguez's glove in and out like it went. And that leads to this opportunity for the Blue Jays to get things going here in this bottom of the second. Varsho had a brief moment where he thought he was going to stop up at first, quickly turned the corner, got to second. Here's Clement on the outside edge. It is strike number 1 to Clement in the bottom of the second with nobody out and a man at second. Logan Gilbert up to 22 pitches here. The Blue Jays continue to grind away at him. Again, like we said, we're looking for 19 to 20 pitches per inning out of Logan Gilbert to try and knock him out of this game early as Clement grounds 1-2. Third base, Suarez forgot something, and Clement is safe at first. Suarez dropped the ball in the transfer, and just like that, the Blue Jays get it going with a man at second and first. Nobody out, and Eugenio Suarez cannot believe in the ALCS he just made that mistake of all mistakes to make. What a hard shot by Clement to third base, and then Suarez felt he had it. It was on the ground, and a nice little clutch there by Clement to get to the bag as Suarez got the throw there just in time, but it's a safe call there, and I don't know if the Mariners are challenging it or not. But what an opportunity there for the Blue Jays, now lining up men at first and second as it's the bottom of the second inning. Nobody out. That is the big key here for the Blue Jays. Clement leading off of first, Varsho off of second. Here now is Addison Barger. He will take strike 1 on a looping pitch from Logan Gilbert. 1 home run, 1 RBI, 241 batting average, and a .176 in the ALCS. For Addison Barger thus far. Barger lines up for the next pitch, and it is swung on and missed. A crazy pitch that cuts hard away from him. 0-2 with nobody out still here in the bottom of the second. 25 pitches in to this outing for Logan Gilbert. He is trying to escape this inning really without 40 pitches. That's what's going to be critical to him going the distance here against the Blue Jays a little bit in this one. Is lining up now George Springer. Looking to get going. He's already got the sweat dripping down the forehead. Here's the pitch from Gilbert again, trying to fool. And Barger can't get the swing. It's 1-2, 51% hard hit rate for the Blue Jays. Addison Barger, league average is 36.9. Here we go. Let's get going. Is the pitch from Gilbert. 1-2 count to Barger. 26 pitches into Gilbert's night. Delivery, and Barger slams it off the ground immediately right to the first base coach, and he will hold on to that ball, throw it into the stands, and the Blue Jays will redo this. A 1-2 count to Addison Barger. Now only 12 pitches away from really exceeding that pitch limit there for Logan Gilbert, right? I think it's quite honestly the Blue Jays will be happy with every single inning if they get 19 out of Gilbert. Pitch number, well, it's ball number 2. Sorry, I don't even know what pitch number that is of the at-bat, but that's the second ball of the at-bat. That's 2-2 count now for Addison Barger against Logan Gilbert. Nathan Lucas warming up, getting ready, trying to get things going for this next at-bat for him. The Blue Jays in the bottom third of the lineup now. Barger, it'll be Kiner Falefa for him. And then, of course, Andre Jimenez, who's been absolutely lights out this series for the Blue Jays. The pitch delivered from Gilbert here as he cues up. Ready, set, go to Barger. Barger will slam it through the right side over top of the glove of the second baseman, and it will be the first run of the ball game for the Blue Jays, and runners at first and third. Barger delivers his second RBI of the postseason, I guess, and ends up bringing home a 1-0 Blue Jays lead thanks to that double to lead it off by Varsho. The infield single on the error by Eugenio Suarez for Ernie Clement, and Barger just rips a ball over the top of the second baseman right out there to right field, and all Canzone can do is throw it in and prevent a double for Barger as the Blue Jays come away with the first run of the ball game. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. walking up and down in front of the dugout, clapping his hands, light up. Let's go. Let's get it going here. Is 1-0 the score for the Toronto Blue Jays. Bottom of the second, nobody out. Kiner Falefa at the dish here. Runners, like I mentioned, on the corners. Swing, it goes. It is an 0-1 count to Kiner Falefa. There's been some kind of uneasy swings out of both teams so far to start this ball game. Friends, if you're enjoying the Blue Jays now being up 1-0, definitely consider hitting that like button on the live stream. Would appreciate that. We're just about to 10. Here's Gilbert, another delivery. Kiner Falefa throws it over there, and we're about to lose the camera here. Oh, forgot we were running on battery there. That's my bad, friends. As we are now in an 0-2 count for Kiner Falefa. Logan Gilbert up to 31 pitches this inning thus far. Bottom of the second. Let's get this going. Kiner Falefa delivered by Gilbert. It's a ball into the dirt. A wild pitch that rolls back towards the mound, but a good job corralling by Cal Raleigh. And it'll be a 1-2 count to Kiner Falefa that doesn't yet burn the Seattle Mariners, as that one Raleigh just kind of gloved away. He never really cupped it fully with that catcher's mitt. He had it in there, but just basically backhanded it away from himself, and he had to quickly corral it in front of the plate, in front of the mound, as the Blue Jays get another chance to swing the bat here with Kiner Falefa at the dish. He will take up the pitch and ground it foul, very much so out in front on that looping 78-mile-an-hour pitch. And it'll now still be a 1-2 count with 34 pitches, no matter what, on this next pitch chewed up of Logan Gilbert's pitch count. So not bad at all there. That's, hey, we'll take it. As the Blue Jays, if they can keep doing it here against Seattle, grinding out at bat after at bat, as the Kiner Falefa grounds one. That might be a difficult play. Suarez drops it, runs, scores, and the Blue Jays take a 2-0 lead. Kiner Falefa, that is small ball at its premium, as he ends up just grounding it off the hand of Suarez, getting up the baseline. And just like that, the Blue Jays lead 2-0, and Logan Gilbert unraveling a little bit here thanks to his defense and getting some not so much friendly help from the Blue Jays, putting the balls in the right place at the right time. Barely any contact by Kiner Falefa on that ball. Suarez charging, couldn't barehand it off the ring finger and the pointer, and that's it. That's all. That'll do it. It's a 2-0 lead for the Toronto Blue Jays. Suarez having a nightmare inning here for Seattle. I mean, tough go at best, the most critical time of the year to have errors. And unfortunately, Suarez guilty of 2 not so great plays for the Seattle Mariners, and a guy who was a hero last game for Seattle, need I mention. So keep that in mind. Corners are in for the Seattle Mariners. They will try and prevent against the bunt from Andre Jimenez, as he has been absolutely electric at either being a small ball specialist or taking you a yard. Logan Gilbert's got to be careful not to serve up a soft one here down the middle, as Jimenez does have that power to take it over the fence. Still nobody out, bottom of the second. Bunt is on for the Blue Jays. Bunted foul by Jimenez, and it will be an 0-1 count. The Blue Jays, of course, knowing to try and move the runners over to second and third with one on first, one on second, nobody out. I can't even spit out my words cleanly, man. I'm so excited. This has been absolutely a culmination of getting everywhere. Here's Jimenez still squaring a bunt, draws it back. It's ball number 1, as Josh Naylor was pretty much in front of the pitcher trying to field that one to cut off the run going to third probably on the throw across the diamond. Here we go. Pitch number 37 in a 1-1 count coming from Logan Gilbert as we get some angles across the ball diamond. Here's Gilbert. Jimenez squared to bunt. He's going to pull it back. Miss over top of it. A 1-2 count. And just like that, the Blue Jays are going to get 19 pitches this inning minimum out of Logan Gilbert, which was, of course, the hope and the plan here to begin the inning after a good grinded out first inning that caused no runs whatsoever. So here we go. Gilbert throwing pitch number 38 against Andre Jimenez here in a 1-2 count. The pitch on the inside corner low strikes out Andre Jimenez. It'll be 2-run game for the Blue Jays, up 2-0 with 1 out in the bottom of the second. Runners on first and second with George Springer coming up to the dish here as the swing and the miss there for Andre Jimenez. And now a chance, well, at least you hope, for George Springer to have a special moment here in ALCS Game 6. Seattle leads the series 3-2. It's win or go home for the Blue Jays tonight as Springer glides into the box. 2 homers, 4 RBIs, 7 for 23. So far in 5 games for George Springer in the ALCS. The pitch low from Logan Gilbert. That will be pitch number 39, so 40 upcoming here in the bottom of the second already on his ledger this evening. It's a 2-0 lead for the Blue Jays. 1 out, bottom of the second. Logan Gilbert sporting that goatee. Heck of a style too. As this pitch on the outside, low as well. 2 balls, no strikes to the Blue Jays DH George Springer, who again, like I said, is coming back from what was the scary incident in Game 5 and now trying to take hold what could be a critical Game number 6 at bat here with men on first and second for the Blue Jays. 1 down. Bottom of the second, pitch is on the inside. And there we have it. It's a 3-0 count to George Springer with 1 away. 2-0. The Jays lead on 2 scratch across runs here for the Blue Jays in this bottom of the second. Eugenio Suarez with 2 critical misplays for the Mariners. The pitch, the delivery from Gilbert inside. Ball number 4 to load it up for Nathan Lucas, who will come up to the dish with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. behind him, and a chance to really do some damage here in this ball game. What a moment. What a just absolute culmination of trouble for the Mariners for Eugenio Suarez. And now an opportunity for the Blue Jays to get going. Lucas 1 for 1 so far, including a single to right field. Just a little get me over ball there as he will come up with a chance to get going. A guy who's had one of, if not the coolest stories on the Toronto Blue Jays in a long while. Coming to the dish here with the bases loaded in the bottom of the second. 1 out. 2-run lead for the Blue Jays. Swinging on the first pitch was Lucas. It's fouled off to the right side. An 0-1 count now for the Toronto Blue Jays and their second hole hitter. Gilbert with 43 pitches on the ledger. The Blue Jays have chewed up the pitch count for Gilbert so far. He only made 58. The Blue Jays are, well, only 15 away from matching that here in Game number 6. He did that in Game 2 for the Seattle Mariners as Lucas fouls back another pitch. It's an 0-2 count now. 44 pitches into Gilbert's night. Reminder, the bases are loaded here. Big time swing from Lucas could very well net a few runs, if not 3 or 4. Gilbert set to deliver pitch number 45 of his night. Right in the middle of the zone. Lucas fooled on it. Strikes out. It'll be Vladdy Guerrero Jr. up to the dish with a chance to bring home 4. Guerrero set to get this going. Writes a little something in the dirt there. Everybody at Rogers Center on their feet. I'm at attention here. Let's do this. A chance for Vladdy to get the job done and become an instant legend for all time. I mean, Vladdy's already an all-time legend for the Blue Jays, but I'm talking this is a moment that legends are made of. The pitch to Vladdy from Gilbert, pitch number 46 of his night. We're keeping a close eye on that. I don't care if you're annoyed with that. Gilbert in the dirt tells everybody not to advance. That is ball number 1. Cal Raleigh having a little bit of trouble corralling the balls here early on in this game. Logan Gilbert a little bit wild with his pitches as well, as he will face down a 1-0 count of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. here in this bottom of the second, 2 away. Guerrero lines back up into the batter's box. Trey Savage patiently pacing inside the Blue Jays dugout. Guerrero Jr. ready for the pitch from Gilbert. Here comes the delivery with a chance to blow this thing open. A pitch hit to Suarez to second bag, and that'll do it. It'll be the end of the inning. Guerrero Jr. grounds out to third. The play made at second. And Logan Gilbert will walk off the mound, only giving up 2 runs in the bottom of the second, but the pitch clock got chewed up heavy there. Sliding in was George Springer, but unfortunately unable to beat that throw from Eugenio Suarez. So the Blue Jays now lead 2-0 in the bottom of the second, friends. Thank you so much for being aboard here again. I will encourage you to hit that subscribe button on the live stream tonight. Would appreciate you hanging out with me, that's for sure, for what could be the rest of this series or for what could be a very special offseason as the Blue Jays try to get closer and closer to that World Series should they be eliminated here tonight. So this is where we find ourselves, friends. The Blue Jays closing in on, well, Game 6 being a big one, right? It's only the top of the third, but the Blue Jays already up 2-0, and Trey Savage pitching lights out. You'll love to see it, at least this far for the Blue Jays. So keep it going, keep rolling the hot hand in Savage, and let's see if we can do it. So right now, 2-0 going into the top half of the third inning. The Blue Jays absolutely lighting it up, friends. Appreciate you if you've already checked out the Oilers video for the day as well. That's doing not too bad over there either, is it? So that's where we find ourselves. And of course, 8 of you have already hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for doing that. We're closing in on 18,200 subscribers. A chance to get to 20,000 this year would be absolutely special. Here we go, friends. We are just on commercial break right now, waiting for this Blue Jays ball game to get back on. I'm going to take a quick second to refill the water bottle. We'll get right back to it here. It's a 2-0 lead for the Toronto Blue Jays as we get set to the top of the third inning. Trey Savage just continuing to work through his process here and try and deliver the Blue Jays a big result. Game 7, absolutely or absolutely no. The votes were 82% in favor of Game 7, and we'll see if the Blue Jays and Trey Savage can keep trending towards that here in the top half of the third inning. So far, a pretty minimal stress outing from Trey Savage, who, well, 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the first, 3 up, 3 down, punched out the side in the top half of the second. What does Savage have for us here in game number 6 of this ALCS? The first pitch delivered in there to J.P. Crawford for a ball high of the zone. As the Blue Jays will try and keep things going here. 1 home run, 4 RBIs for J.P. Crawford this postseason. 2 RBIs and a strikeout on the ledger in the ALCS through 5 games. The pitch on the outside edge gets the call. Trey Savage now 1-1. 25 pitches into his night. Again, this is where I'm saying, right? It's always interesting. A lot made about pulling pitchers at certain points in this postseason from John Schneider. The Blue Jays have lived to make it this far. Savage delivers a swing and a miss off the plate, low and outside. J.P. Crawford in a hole, 1-2 now to Savage, who, as a reminder, punched out the last 3 batters in a row. Rogers Center absolutely erupts. They're on their feet once again, getting this going here, as this one will be a chance here for the Blue Jays to punch out another batter. Savage delivers, spikes a ball right into basically the grass. He was that close to the mound throwing that pitch, just kind of threw it away immediately out of the hand, as it'll be a 2-2 count now to Crawford, who's looking for this pitch from Savage. Savage moving the pace rather quickly, delivers on the inside corner. It's low for ball number 3. Just like that, we're going to have ourselves a 3-2 count, and nobody out here in the top half of the third inning for J.P. Crawford. The Seattle Mariners still without a base runner here in this game. It will come on this pitch for the Mariners as a walk to J.P. Crawford pulls up Dominic Canzone. And like I said, for Canzone and the Mariners, if anything's going to happen, if anyone's going to be a hero unexpectedly, it's going to be Dominic Canzone for the Mariners tonight. He has had an absolutely atrocious postseason thus far for the Mariners. And now he gets a chance to bat in a critical spot. First base runner of the game on the bag for the Mariners here. 0-1 pitch on the outside edge. It's an 0.87 batting average, 0.59 for Dominic Canzone, and he's 1 for 17 with 6 strikeouts. Here in this ALCS, the pitch in there swung on and missed by Canzone, quickly 0-2. Savage already with 4 strikeouts on the ledger, looking to strike this man out and then roll up a double play here right quick. As the Mariners talking things out at the side of the dugout here, the Blue Jays fans back on their feet. The pitch again spiked by Savage, and that's been the problem here. He's spiked a couple pitches already this inning. As the signals here from the Mariners dugout, as Julio Rodriguez waiting in the hole. Dominic Canzone at the plate right now, chewing up a couple of pitches from Trey Savage. As this will be a pitch now delivered by Savage in there, struck him out. 5th strikeout of the night and the first out of the top half of the 3rd inning for Trey Savage, as he ends up clutching up another out here. And that is just killing it from Trey Savage so far in this ball game. 5 strikeouts, 2 1/3 innings pitched. It's been a beauty of a go so far, as Canzone, no chance on that one, looked absolutely fooled. And now Rivas, who's batting 100 so far this postseason, lines up against Savage, who nails another strike in there, 0-1. 2-0 the Blue Jays lead. Bottom half of the 2nd inning was good to them. They got 2 runs across, and now in the top half of the 3rd, Savage trying to roll up either a strikeout or a double play here. Either way, get 1 or 2 outs and try and end this inning in rather quick fashion. Another swing and a miss. This time Rivas in an 0-2 hole. As, oh my goodness, they've got an ice tray sign here for Trey Savage. As Trey Savage will look to strike out another batter. All of a sudden, the Mariners, who thought they had figured out Savage in game number 2, Savage coming in here in an 0-2 count, looking to punch out 6 of the first 8 outs. And that would be absolutely phenomenal. Savage set, will deliver. Swung, no, he thought about swinging for a brief second. There was a little bit of motion there from Rivas' shoulders, but it's a ball low, and it's a 1-2 count with 1 out here in the top half of the 3rd for the Blue Jays and Mariners. John Schneider patiently looking on. Savage settles up, ready to rock and roll. Another pitch here, low in the zone, spiked it down off the ground. And it'll now be a 2-2 count to Leo Rivas from Trey Savage, as Pete Walker double checks everything on his end. And the Blue Jays looking to try and get this strikeout. Savage a little bit too tactful maybe right here, but hey, don't mind it. He's trying to just get things going here against the Mariners. Still early on in this ball game. Rivas ready for the next pitch. Savage ready to rock and roll this one here. He'll deliver to the plate. It's fouled off by Rivas, and it's going foul, 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 well into the stands. The camera cuts back to Rivas because it's so far out of play. Savage now at 38 pitches here in the top half of the 3rd inning. His pitch count somewhat becoming a concern now after 2 extended at-bats against the last 2 Mariners hitters, Crawford and now Rivas. Rivas still at the plate in a 2-2 count with 1 out in the top of the 3rd. Delivering is Savage up top of the zone on a looper, and that'll, well, do it for a 3-2 count here for Trey Savage and the Toronto Blue Jays. Count is full. The man possibly off from first, and J.P. Crawford here. As Savage looks over, Crawford getting set. Blue Jays not exactly holding them on. Crawford fakes being off. Here's Rivas skying it out to right field. Barger backing up. Barger off the wall. It's fair. Caught there by back in. And the Blue Jays somehow, from a pitch that on first glance looked like it might be out of the park, keep the runners at first and second in the first hit and walk of the day allowed by Trey Savage here all of a sudden, as Barger well out of his realm of catching that ball. But what a towering shot from Leo Rivas, as he got that ball up in a hurry, but just couldn't get it over the fence as it bounces off there. Barger lost his hat, and throw in a perfect one there, as Barger was about 6, 7, 8, 9 inches away from being able to catch that ball. That would have been one heck of a jump if he did, or one heck of a catch if it was a little bit lower. Mariners are 250 batting with runners in scoring position this series so far. The pitch delivered on the outside. Savage misses 1-0 to Julio Rodriguez, who's batting 195 in the postseason, but a 4 for 18 ledger, 2 homers, 5 RBIs in the ALCS. Delivery to Rodriguez. The pickoff at first. And Alejandro Kirk, I think on second glance, might have just picked off Rivas at first base. The umpire ruled him safe, so we'll have to have something conclusive here. But we're talking replay. The Blue Jays believe they have nailed Rivas at first on the quick pickoff by Kirk over to Guerrero. And what a play there, man. Kirk moved lightning fast, delivered a strike to Guerrero, who got in there. Yes, I think he got him on the hand. Let's see it here. Oh yeah, he got him. I don't know, it's close. The sliding mid is kind of there. We need a more close-up definitive look. But you just got to look where he shelters off the bag. Oh yeah, he got him. He got him. Guerrero nailed him almost with probably 95% certainty. Right here is going to be the replay that shows it. Yep, his buckles his hand before he hits the bag. This should be the one that finds it right here. He tapped the bag and oh no, he's safe by an eyelash. Safe by an eyelash. I guarantee that will not stand up as an out. Never mind, I think we're good. I've been proven otherwise. Like I said, all I needed was a close-up, and I think very quickly that close-up shows that his hand buckles before the tag comes in. Guerrero ended up tagging the bag instead of tagging Leo Rivas, so that should be safe in a 2-0 count as Savage gets a moment to catch his breath here. But what a play from Kirk to Guerrero, a smart heads-up play, but almost 100% certainty that it will not stand up as an out here for the Toronto Blue Jays. Guerrero thought he had it. He yelled to the dugout immediately, but he does not have. Call on the field stands just like that. It'll be a 2-0 count to Julio Rodriguez. So the Blue Jays lose the challenge there, but fair enough. You had to go for it. That one was too tight not to. Like I said, it looked 100% because of the way Rivas' arm buckled before he hit the bag, but it indeed instead buckled before after he hit the bag. So it is what it is for the Blue Jays. It is what it is for the Mariners, and it is a 1-out, 1 man on first, 1 man on second, 2-0 count to Julio Rodriguez. The Blue Jays looking to light up a double play right here. A swing and a miss for Rodriguez. What a swing there from Rodriguez, trying to blow that one out of the park. Instead, it's a 2-1 count to the Mariners' leadoff hitter. Trey Savage back to work here. 43 pitches into his outing so far. See what he can do here, as this is going to be a chance now for the Blue Jays to get another pitch in. Savage holding the ball tight. Here we go. Set to deliver, and the pitch from Savage on the outside, down low. It'll be ball 3. This is where things start to unravel if you're the Blue Jays. You got to be careful here. You got to deliver results now. 0-1 count, or 0-1, 0-1. I don't even know what I'm saying. Pardon me. Let's go. Rodriguez, 3-1 count. Pitch on the inside. It's ball. It's loaded bases for Cal Raleigh. Now, this is an interesting conversation to have. Do you walk Raleigh? Do you intentionally walk Raleigh, walk in a run, and, try and roll up a double play on the next batter? That'd be the better play here, as the Blue Jays fans stressing now. Pete Walker out to talk to Trey Savage. Things quickly turn dicey for the Blue Jays. A replay that doesn't go your way, but also, just an inning that's started to unravel. This season for Cal Raleigh, 169 games, 64 home runs, 132 RBIs, including the postseason. What a season it's been for Cal. And friends, Boston, when you're asking how my friends doing, all good. Everything is good back home resting, so we are fine and dandy, as we will have Trey Savage get back ready to pitch here on the mound for the Blue Jays against Cal Raleigh. No call to intentionally walk the man. That is the home run king this season in Raleigh. So, interesting there. Will it pay off for the Blue Jays? Savage has already struck out Raleigh today, though. Ball on the ground. Guerrero to second. Back to first to Savage. That, my friend, is a double play. And the Blue Jays escape without any damage. What an opportunity there for the Seattle Mariners. Gone by the wayside in one pitch to Cal Raleigh, who turned on that ball to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and the Blue Jays get him out in a blink of an eye. Guerrero with a solid, strong play to second over Savage with the tag at 1. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he wanted to get J.P. Crawford out. He does. Or sorry, I guess that wouldn't be Crawford at first base anymore because we walked Julio Rodriguez. So never mind. It was Rodriguez there at second that Vladdy got. So. Oh, yeah. So that's where we find ourselves, friends. It is a, well, now 2-0 lead going into the bottom half of the second or third inning already. My goodness, time's flying here. Pardon me. Tell me I haven't done a ball game without doing a ball game in a long while. Bottom half of the third coming, or top half of the, I don't even, where am I? Bottom half of the third. Let's go. If you are new to the channel, friends, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's all new to me, friend, as it's been a tough go basically watching baseball for the last few months here, as things seriously heated up instead of just casually catching a ball game once in a while. Instead, here we are heating things up. And yeah, the Blue Jays in Game 6 of the ALCS trying to go 7 against the Seattle Mariners. And I am scrambled up. I will tell you that much. It's already 7 o'clock here tonight. What is it? Is it Sunday already? I think it is Sunday. Jeez, that clock moved quick this week, didn't it? As we are on Sunday. The Blue Jays playing a heck of a ball game thus far. The Oilers, they played a terrible hockey game today. What do you do? And yeah, that's just kind of where we're sitting, friends, as we are now going in the bottom of the third already of this Blue Jays ball game with a chance to get things going against the Seattle Mariners again and try and expand the lead. Will Logan Gilbert make it out of the third inning? That is a question and a half to be answered here for the Seattle Mariners. That's for sure. As we are rolling up, definitely killing the watch time here on the live stream, friends. Thank you so much for spending 45 hours combined so far and an hour and 47 with me. Do appreciate that, as well as we continue along here tonight on the broadcast. The Blue Jays doing a good job. A pitcher's best friend. Yes, indeed. Double play there for the Blue Jays thus far to end the top half of the third inning. And they are just continuing to roll along here tonight thus far. So far, 3 scoreless innings. And yeah, Thunders has got it right as, you know, nice double play for the Blue Jays. Trey Savage getting all the high fives in the dugout. Absolutely lighting up. The 3-6-1 double play got the Blue Jays out of that inning. Got them to the dugout with Alejandro Kirk coming up with a chance to expand on the lead. The Blue Jays only 1 double on the ledger so far. Everything else has been small ball for the win. Here's Gilbert delivering the pitch at the top of the zone. Loops it in there for strike number 1. 48th pitch of the outing for Logan Gilbert. 216, 3 homers, 7 RBIs for Alejandro Kirk so far in this postseason. Gilbert delivers another pitch here. Lining up on the inside is Raleigh. He'll get called strike number 2. Kirk's got to swing the bat here. Pitch number 50 coming from Logan Gilbert in this, well, 0-2 count with nobody out in the bottom half of the third inning. Addison Barger pulls out his bat. He's ready to rock and roll here in the next little minute or two. As on deck is Ernie Clement. Varsho's on deck, and then Ernie Clement's in the hole. As Logan Gilbert cues up the 0-2 count, it skips away from Cal Raleigh, who doesn't really care where that ball went. It's anywhere but where he needs it to be, and he throws a new one to Logan Gilbert. 1-2 count, bottom on the ledger for Gilbert. Remember, he only got out of the third inning last time out and was pulled. So here we go. 58 is the number for him to match. This one swung on by Kirk. Suarez, far side of the bag. Coming off the bag, it's an out. Josh Naylor held on. And Alejandro Kirk is out by an eyelash there, as it was just kind of a nasty hop for Naylor, but he holds on to make the play. And that double play for Trey Savage is worth one more look here as Guerrero, what a beauty play over to second, and then the return throw over to Savage gets them out of the inning, does it for the Blue Jays. And now Pete Walker having a couple words with Trey Savage. Bottom of the third, 1 out, 2-0 the lead for the Blue Jays. Here's Varsho taken. Strike 1-0-1 to the Varsho. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. Now another hit here in the ALCS. Singled. They ruled it an error on Rodriguez that got him to second. Here we go. Pitch from Logan Gilbert in there. Strike number 2. The Blue Jays got to stop taking strikes for strikes here as they're allowing Gilbert to chew up some much needed lineup here against the Blue Jays. Now 0-2 to Varsho. Back against the wall a little bit here. 2-0 lead. The pitch to Varsho in there. Varsho swing. Well, it's just a lazy fly ball to right field. It had a little bit more promise at the start of the swing than it did at the end of the catch. But the Blue Jays quietly going down. Two outs here in the bottom half of the third. Clement will come up. He is also 0 for 1 tonight. So he's going to try and dial up a base hit here for the Blue Jays. As Clement quickly from Gilbert will get the delivery. And Clement swung on. This one belted back. Julio Rodriguez at the wall. It's off the top of the wall, or is it out of the park? I don't know. Clement's going 3 nonetheless. Arozarena around, and that will be a stand-up triple for Clement. My goodness, what a chance there. All the way back to the wall. Arozarena looked over his shoulder, and it went up off that cage there. And what an opportunity, Clement there. What a shot. Triple there. And what a slam of the bat there for Clement. He got solid contact, didn't wait around, and just lifted one all the way to the left field wall. As that one bounces off the very top of the wall, Arozarena doesn't know that he had to go for it. Thought it was out of the park. Barger takes strike 1. It's 0-1, 2 out in the bottom half of the third inning. As Barger will get things going. Barger with 2 runs, the lead for the Blue Jays. 2-0 over the Mariners. Bottom of the third, Barger at the plate. Clement at third. It ain't gonna matter. It's a home run for Addison Barger and a 4-0 lead for the Toronto Blue Jays. Barger leaves the yard for a grand total of 4 runs on the board now in the bottom of the third for the Blue Jays. What a slam there for Barger. Knocks in Clement, knocks himself home with 1 swing. And just like that, the Blue Jays have unraveled Logan Gilbert here in this bottom of the third inning. Barger gets it going. Wearing that home run jacket going down the dugout as everybody gives him the high fives. Barger has been quiet all playoffs long. No longer a clutch home run here in game number 6 of the ALCS. Addison Barger delivers what might be the biggest moment of the first 3 innings of the game. And you know, a big double play was also on the ledger earlier on. Here's Kiner Falefa still in there. Logan Gilbert, the pitch delivered. Strike 1 to Kiner Falefa, and there is going to be the replay of the home run by Barger. A swing, an absolute classic of a swing from Barger. That's something we've come to know from him. He hit quite a few this year, and there's another one. Kiner Falefa now at the dish with an 0-1 count, 2 out bottom of the third against Gilbert. Swung on and missed. It's an 0-2 count now to Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Barger, just an unleash kind of swing. Gets it all the way into the stands in right center field. Barger puts us up 4-0. Here's Kiner Falefa. Gilbert delivers to the plate. Inside, it comes all the way in on the hands of Kiner Falefa. And 1-2. The count now is warming up in the bullpen is Bizzardo for the Seattle Mariners. Eduardo Bizzardo. As the managers both looking on. John Schneider hardly believing what he can see. Kiner Falefa bounces one to short. J.P. Crawford over there to Josh Naylor for the out. Number 3 of the inning, and that will do it here. The Blue Jays scratch across 2 more on Bam Bam Barger's big home run. And the Blue Jays lead the Mariners going into the top half of the 4th inning. Friends, stay tuned. I will be right back. Well, Blue Jays fans, what do we think? Are we going to get this done or what? The Blue Jays up 4-0 at the end of 3 innings against the Seattle Mariners. What a solid start to the game from Trey Savage and the Blue Jays offense. Exactly how you drew it up if you're a Blue Jays fan. And it's been a heck of a start to the game, and hopefully it continues through the next 6 innings here for the Blue Jays. Obviously, you only really need 5.5 to win this ball game if you keep it going here the rest of the way home. So let's see if we can keep up the pressure on the Seattle Mariners as we get into the top half of the 4th inning. Trey Savage likely done in the next inning or two here. Addison Barger with a big bam home run that got us to where we are here right now as the Blue Jays lead 4-0 in the top half of the 4th inning. What a start, like I said, for the Blue Jays. What an outing it's been, and hopefully it continues to go that way. That's all you can hope for at this point. As we get back to the next at bat here for the Blue Jays, or for the Mariners, sorry, the Blue Jays. Trey Savage ready, set to fire on here. Dalton Varsho captaining the outfield out there in center field. Let's get this going. Here's your Savage set to deliver his 47th pitch of the game in there. A little nice 88-mile-an-hour pitch for an 0-1 count. Polanco 0-1. Or 0 for 1, sorry, for the game so far. 220 average here in the postseason, 5 for 19, including a home run and 5 RBIs in a game won by Polanco so far in this ALCS. 4-0 in a 1-1 count, top of the 4th, none out to Polanco. Savage up to 48 pitches. Pitch number 50. Will it be a strikeout? That is the question here we're going to ask ourselves, all right? Here's Savage lining up in the 1-1 count. Pitch number 49. On the inside, fouled off by Polanco. Nobody's quite sure where that ball went. But Max Scherzer, likely an option available to the Blue Jays should they choose to use them here in game number 6. Shane Bieber as well, an option for the Blue Jays. You know, Kevin Gausman might even be yelling, "Let me get out there." So the pitch, the delivery, here we go. Savage on the outside looking for the swing. Can't get it from Polanco, so it'll be a 2-2 count as Savage has now delivered his 50th pitch of the game. The Blue Jays set, ready to get going here for this 2-2 count. Savage fires, delivers, swung on and belted foul by Polanco. A good defensive swing there. Polanco batting in the 3-hole for the Mariners, in case you're unfamiliar with the lineup here tonight, as this will be John Schneider in the dugout, talking things over with Pete Walker. Savage set for the next pitch, 2-2. 52 pitches on the game. The swung on and Polanco going out to right field, looping it. Fitting, eh? Fitting. As Addison Barger, the man who hit the home run in the last inning, he will end up being the guy to deliver home the first out of the top half of the 4th inning. So Trey Savage now through 3 1/3 innings clean here. That's 12 and 2/3 innings on 4 5-run ball. I think 5-run ball, 4 hit, 5-run, 5, yeah, whatever he had coming in today. Josh Naylor nonetheless at the plate. Here we go. Savage. The pop into center field. It trails away from Varsho. He quickly gathers it, gets it in and holds Naylor to a second. Only the second hit allowed by Savage so far today. And he is pitching and dealing this evening, and hopefully it continues as that hopefully doesn't shake Pete Walker and John Schneider's confidence in the young man. Of course, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. now holding on his counterpart at first base. Naylor and Guerrero talking things over. Here we go. Rosa Reyna at the dish here for the Seattle Mariners. Savage set, fire, deliver, swung on and put back behind the screen by Randy Arozarena, who's now 2 for 18 in this postseason. 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. Savage struck out the side in the top half of the 2nd inning. Here we go. Pitch number 2 of the at-bat. Savage fires, delivers. Arozarena chops it to third base. Clement can't handle it. And Arozarena will get up the line. It's 4-0 Blue Jays. 1-0. 1 on first, 1 on second for the Seattle Mariners after that misplay, as third base has been a costly position for both teams. Bouncing balls, not quite the most, I don't know if you could say, easiest handle thing for both the Blue Jays and Mariners today. As now Clement joins Suarez with a misplay over there for third base on a bouncing ball up the line. So Arozarena, Josh Naylor. It'll be Trey Savage lining up to deal to Eugenio Suarez now, who has had some damage in this series. It's ball 1 here in this count. Top of the 4th, 1-0. Of course, Suarez was also one of those strikeouts in the top half of the 2nd inning. Here's the pitch delivery from Savage. In there, swung on and fouled back by Suarez. 1 out in the top half of the 4th inning. 4-0 the lead for the Blue Jays here. That's what you got to keep in mind. The Blue Jays lead 4-0. That's all that matters. Just keep getting the outs here. If you're Trey Savage, things have backed up a little bit on the base paths right now. But here's another delivery from Savage. High and inside. The swing, did he go? No, says the first base umpire. It's a 2-1 count to Eugenio Suarez, who finds himself back in Mariners colors, by the way, is the pitch now coming from Savage. Top of the 4th, 2-1 count, 1 out to Suarez. In there, swung on and missed. Savage gets the crowd standing with another chance for another strikeout here. The Blue Jays have been good at punching guys out so far this game, as Savage comes up and everybody in the stands rise at once. As Savage set to deliver, he'll fire. Suarez fouls off a very good pitch that a lot of Mariners have swung and missed at so far tonight. Suarez, well, he was able to foul that one off, and that's part of that chase rate, right? So, here's Savage. The pitch, 2-2 the count to Suarez. The ball gets away from Kirk, and an untimely error there for the Toronto Blue Jays erases the double play possibility and loads the count 3-2 for Eugenio Suarez. Trey Savage and Alejandro Kirk just mishandled that play right there. As a nice play by Savage, but unfortunately that ball bounces right between Kirk's legs, and not much he can do on that one. As we'll get Kirk and Savage back to throw the next pitch of this at bat. 61 now for Savage on the game. He kicks, delivers. Top of the zone, walks Eugenio Suarez. Kirk could not frame it to steal a pitch. John Schneider wishing he would have gotten that call. And now the Blue Jays bases loaded for J.P. Crawford. And this kind of the guy where this all started falling apart last time, right? We got to remember. And this is where the Blue Jays, Trey Savage in a little bit of trouble, probably his biggest trouble since, well, the last time the bases were loaded with 1-0, right? The Blue Jays got out of it with a double play. J.P. Crawford, a lefty at the bag here, a chance to swinging and bringing that to the left side to pull up the old double play like we had last inning. J.P. Crawford instead takes strike number 1 of the at-bat. Here's a 4-0 game for the Blue Jays over the Mariners. Savage set to deliver the 0-1 pitch to Crawford on the outside edge. It is strike number 2 to J.P. Crawford. Blue Jays fans again jump out of their seats for Trey Savage. Another chance to strike men out, and that's one reason why Savage's pitch count is as high as it is. He's had a lot of opportunities, had a lot of strikeouts already. 65 pitches upcoming here for Savage, as this will be an opportunity here to strike out J.P. Crawford. Swung on to second base just as they drew it up. There is your double play to end the inning. The Blue Jays get out of it again. Savage lights up his defense for standing behind him. And yes, indeed, a lefty batter with 1 out and the bases loaded again. The Blue Jays able to escape it. And man, do they want it all or what? It is looking good here from a Blue Jays fan perspective. As the oh man, what a chance. Savage just barely throws a good pitch. Any more of that ball and Crawford would have had a base hit. Instead, it's right into the second baseman, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and he makes the play to get us out of this inning. There you have it. So, friends, there you have it. We will go to the, yes, indeed, bottom of the 4th with a chance to expand on the runs. Friends, if you haven't had a chance to hit that subscribe button yet, I know this is a rather sloppy live stream compared to what the normal product I try and produce is, but my apologies on that. It's been a long dang while since I last chose to live stream a ball game, I'll tell you that. So we are currently rolling 18,183 subscribers on the ledger now. Thank you so much to those of you that have chosen to hit the subscribe button. It's just quickly checking some numbers in the back end here. And we are looking all right, aren't we? Yes, indeed. All right, cool. Let's carry on here as the Blue Jays up 4-0 on the Mariners. We're in a commercial break right now. It's been a heck of a ball game thus far. The Blue Jays doing all the things right that they need to try and force a win here. And it's been a good effort from Trey Savage. It's been a good effort from the defense, and the offense has come through with a couple big timely hits to get the job done here in game number 6. It's win or go home for the Blue Jays, and so far they have chosen a win, and hopefully that continues long after Trey Savage is lifted from this game. I don't know if Trey Savage will be out there for the top half of the 5th, but either which way, he's earned the right to be part of the winning side of this ball game. So we'll see if he can indeed pull that through as we go here. Just quickly checking things over here on the back end of the live stream, friends. Looking at the numbers here, making sure everything is good. So we are looking at, oh boy, okay, all right. We're looking at, oh yeah, there we go. All right, sweet, perfect. Great old day today, awesome. Let's get it going. Cooper, welcome aboard. Thank you for tuning into the Blue Jays live stream tonight. The Blue Jays now, well, what do they got to get to? They got to get another 5 innings of ball to win this ball game. 5 more at-bats. 5 more at-bats for the Mariners. And then that's it. That's all for this ball game if it doesn't end up going to extras. So right now the Blue Jays got to keep showing up out here. So here we go. Let's get going as Logan Gilbert still on the mound. Surprises me right there. First pitch strike, bottom of the 4th to Andre Jimenez. Let's do a welcome aboard as let's get this going. Bottom of the 4th, 4-0 the lead for the Toronto Blue Jays. Gilbert set to deliver here. He'll kick and fire the pitch, the 0-1 to Jimenez, who waved at that one, and they are going to say he did not go around. That's a lucky goal right there for Jimenez. That pitch definitely looked a little bit more convincing than maybe the check swing earlier in the top half, as this will be another pitch here for Logan Gilbert. He will wind, kick, deliver to Jimenez. Swung on and missed by Jimenez. It's a 1-2 count. Nobody out here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. 64 pitches for Gilbert now. He's gone a lot longer than he did last game out. A total of 9 pitches longer, which again, good for him. as it's been a tough go for both pitching staffs so far in this series. And now Gilbert's set to deliver the 1-2 to Andres Jimenez. The pitch up top just never stopped sailing. Cal Raleigh somehow got a glove on it, and we will have a chance now for a 2-2 count for Jimenez to do something good with it. He's had some good at bats this playoffs, and hopefully he can continue that here as the Blue Jays found a new starting shortstop after losing Bo Bichette. Jimenez slaps one to left field. It's caught at third by Suarez, fired over to Naylor for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 4th. That'll bring up George Springer and Nathan Lucas at minimum for the Blue Jays here in this bottom half of the 4th inning. And that double play, what an absolute rocket there by Jimenez over to first base. And you look at that by Jimenez. Look at that work right there, threading the needle. That's that one. As Suarez ducked out of the way and Guerrero gets going. What a chance there for the Blue Jays to make a good play. They did on that double play there here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And it's lit up by George Springer all the way into center field. Julio Rodriguez makes the catch quickly, 2 down, but that ain't going to stop the Blue Jays offense. It didn't last inning. The Blue Jays were 2 up, 2 down to start the bottom of the 3rd, and then Clement lines one off the wall. And yes, indeed, it was Addison Bam Bam Barger with a big-time home run to put the Blue Jays up 4-0. They've scored in, well, back-to-back innings. Can it be back-to-back-to-back? As Lucas comes up to the plate, 1 for 2 today. Bottom of the 4th, 2 outs. Here in this ball game's game 6 of the ALCS, if you can believe it already, for the Blue Jays and Mariners, fought off by Lucas. It'll be an 0-1 count. Here's Gilbert, now 10 pitches over top of his count last time out. Lucas with a .344 average in the postseason thus far, 7 RBIs and an OPS of .838. Looking to expand on that here. The pitch throwing low. Ball 1, Gilbert starting to look a little bit more relaxed here as George Springer trying to get his knee brace back on, as he's going to have to get out there again at some point. He's the DH, but he is going to be counted upon to hopefully have a couple key runs here for the Blue Jays if all goes according to plan. Here's the throw from Gilbert, as it'll be fouled off again by Lucas. He continues to chew things up. Gilbert up to 70 pitches here. There's a good chance he does not see the end of the 5th inning at bare minimum now, as the Blue Jays will look next inning probably to start tackling the Mariners bullpen. John Schneider dancing and weaving, kind of bouncing like I am here. The nervous, the anxiety, all that coursing through your veins. Here's the pitch by Gilbert, down and away to Lucas. It's a 2-2 count. And Lucas with one hit so far. He sets the table pretty good for Vladdy, game in, game out. See if he can do it here to give Vladdy a moment to be a hero and put the Blue Jays possibly up 6-0. Here's Lucas facing down. The pitch from Gilbert, swung on, batted to the second baseman. That will do it for the inning. Josh Naylor catches the ball, and it's the end of the 4th inning. The Blue Jays go down 1-2-3. Friends, what a game we got going on. We are almost halfway through, and the Blue Jays, oh man, they're in control, 4-0. Does that keep up? We'll see. We'll find out. But of course, if you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button, friends. Would love to have you aboard as a regular viewer on the channel. The goal is this year to hit 20,000, so would love to try and get there. 18,183 right now. Let's go quickly, run upstairs, refill the water bottle. I will be right back. All right, let's go here, Blue Jays. We got to get going here in this, well, what is now, yes, indeed, top half of the 5th inning. Trey Savage ready to rock and roll here as we get going in the top half of the 5th inning. Miraculously, he's not going to be pulled out. Rhonda, welcome aboard as the Blue Jays get set to do action here in the top half of the 5th against the Mariners, who so far tonight haven't really done much, if anything at all. The lines so far tonight, 6 hits for the Blue Jays, 3 for the Mariners, 2 errors by the Mariners, so they didn't credit Clement with an error on that one. Left on base, 4 aside. The homer to Barger. The walks, 3-1 for the Mariners. 5 strikeouts for Savage, 3 for Gilbert, and no stolen bases in the game so far. Here's the pitch from Savage, high and outside to the Toronto Blue Jays opponent, Seattle Mariners, Dominic Canzone, who's 0 for 1 today. He continues to have an absolutely rough ALCS. Here's the delivery, the pitch fired, and it is high of the zone, but called a strike. 1-1, 67 pitches on the ledger for Trey Savage. They're keeping count of the Ks so far, as here comes Savage with another pitch, set, fire, deliver. And the swing, the miss on the foul tip by Canzone as he throws it back off the back screen. And here we go. Canzone batting a whole .083 this playoff so far as Trey Savage comes back ready to throw the next pitch. The Mariners on the phone. Looks like we'll get a new pitcher in the bottom half of the 5th. Pitch is high from Savage. The fans not quite on their feet as of yet here. 2-2 count in the top half of the 5th. 2-2 usually gets the fans on their feet, but I think it's just a little bit of, early inning stuff here. The Blue Jays fans sitting down. The pitch on the inside corner, that was in the zone. At least it caught a piece, but not ruled a strike. It's ball 3 to Canzone as Savage out there now. Pitch number 70 on the ledger, throwing. Canzone will take a second to stretch it out and figure out what he's going to do next in this at bat. Raleigh waiting. He is due up if the 8-9 or 1 hitter can get aboard and somebody stays on base. This is batted up the middle. Diving play by Jimenez. It's going to be a base hit for Canzone, who's done pretty much up to nothing this postseason, except there we go. A base hit at a timely spot could do the job for the Mariners here, as that will turn things over to Rivas. And the Blue Jays quickly on the phone to the bullpen here. Pete Walker talking on the bullpen phone as Savage will get set out there to deal to Rivas. 1 for 1 so far today against the Toronto Blue Jays. The pitch loading up here for Savage. If he can roll up one more double play, that would be absolutely unbelievable. Savage throws top of the zone, strike. It is an 0-1 count to Leo Rivas, who's batting 1 for 8 in this ALCS so far. He was 0 for 7. Loading up into tonight's action. Here's Savage. Sets. Deals. Pitch in. Fouled off by Rivas. An 0-2 count right there to the Mariners' number 9 hitter. 73 pitches for Savage. Fans start rising to their feet here at Rogers Center. We're getting close to what could be another punch-out for Savage. Cal Raleigh waiting, wondering at the side of the dugout. Am I going to get a hit this inning? The Blue Jays would need to roll up a double play to avoid having Raleigh hit here. The pitch loading from Savage. He's set. He'll fire. Swung on and missed by Leo Rivas. And that'll be the first out of the top half of the 5th. 4-0 the Blue Jays lead. They continue to lead as another strikeout there. Loading up in the bullpen is, of course, our ace bullpen arm, at least for this playoff run, Louis Varland. As Rodriguez comes up to the dish here, Savage stays in the ball game for the time being. Rodriguez at the dish. He'll face the first pitch, grounded to shortstop. This to second, to first. He got him! It's a double play for the 3rd straight inning to end the inning, and the Blue Jays go to the bottom half of the 5th, halfway home, leading 4-0. Let's go. That's what we want to see. The Blue Jays defense rolls up another out. Guerrero, Kirk, Varsho due up here for the Blue Jays, who have a grand total of 6 hits in this game. The in-game tracker presented by, no, I don't do that here on the channel. The Blue Jays trailing the Mariners 3-2 in Game 6 of the ALCS. A chance to tie it 3-3 and send it to 7. The AL representative yet to be decided. The Dodgers, well, you know what? Here they are in the World Series against whoever comes out of this series. And it has been an absolute run of dominance for the Dodgers this decade so far. And of course, Shohei Ohtani's been an absolute beauty ad for them. So we'll see if that stays the course here for the Seattle Mariners Seattle Mariners or Toronto Blue Jays when they eventually get to the World Series. Never say never, but it looks like, even from a Blue Jays fan perspective, here you have it, that the Los Angeles Dodgers are your World Series champions this year. The Blue Jays and Mariners just fighting for the rights to try and scratch and claw one game in the final against the Dodgers. It all comes down to this, though. Game 6, friends, the Blue Jays and Mariners doing the things right so far in this game. Rodriguez rolls up a double play for the Mariners on a swing to the shortstop, Trey Savage. 4 hits against, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. What a night it's been for Trey Savage thus far, and a good go for the Toronto Blue Jays at the same rate. Hey, we'll take it, right? It's not going to be a game you complain too lightly about. The Blue Jays sit down and kick butt in that top half of the 5th inning, and now all of a sudden we're closing in on what could be a real special finish to this ball game. I wonder if Savage comes out one more time for the top half of the 6th. Get Louis Varland nice and loose, throw him out there for 7-8, and then Jeff Hoffman deliver us home in the 9th. We've at least gotten to that point, right? It's been a bad go for Blue Jays pitching at home in this series, but hey, we've earned the right to have a good go this game. And what a play, what a fundamental play by Jimenez to get both hands on that ball and then the throw over as Rodriguez out by a step. Guerrero gets him. And that is one heck of a bang play on that double play. The Blue Jays now come up to the dish. Guerrero Jr. at the plate to try and get this going. Blue Jays fans want Game 7. Somebody wants a Springer Dinger for their birthday. And I mean, just look at that building shaking in Toronto tonight. What an absolutely electric atmosphere. A little bit of Canadian pride on the line as well as the Blue Jays try to force home Game 7 here in this ALCS. Game 6, Logan Gilbert still on the mound. The Mariners like what he's done outside of a couple of base hits and a home run against. Bottom of the 5th for Gilbert. Here comes the pitch to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The kick, the wind, and the deal as he will throw it right down the middle. Strike number 1 to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 432 average, 5 homers, 11 RBIs. A base hit right here, right now would be absolutely beautiful. 2 fielder's choice. That's not easy to happen now for Guerrero, as Guerrero will look at a pitch on the inside. It is ruled a ball, and it will be the 75th pitch of the game upcoming for Logan Gilbert as they continue to have Eduard Bazardo continue to warm up in that bullpen for the Mariners. The pitch from Gilbert set to deliver here in a 1-1 count. Nobody out, bottom of the 5th for the Blue Jays as Guerrero lifts it. Lift off! Home run! Vladdy Guerrero Jr. It is a 5-0 lead for the Blue Jays just like that. Logan Gilbert taken deep for the second time in the game. And Vladdy Guerrero Jr. bouncing around those bases. What an absolutely unreal swing. Just unloaded on it. And he comes home. 103-mile-an-hour exit velocity. 384 feet. Cal Raleigh frozen in time behind the plate for the Mariners. As that is a shot and a half. Vladdy Guerrero Jr., you knew he was going to do something with nobody on bag. And indeed, it's a home run to left field that takes home a 5-0 lead in the bottom of the 5th and might very well have just knocked out Logan Gilbert out of this game. Here we are. Yes, sirree. As Logan Gilbert does indeed depart for the Seattle Mariners. BOG back in the live stream action. Glad to see ya. It is absolutely awesome to see the Blue Jays doing what they're doing here. As Logan Gilbert departs, and we will have a new pitcher come on in for the Seattle Mariners. What an opportunity for Vladdy Guerrero Jr. to do something. Nobody on base, just put a good swing on it. And that he does, right over the left field wall and gone. He knew it instantly. You knew it instantly. It was as beautiful of a swing as they come to lift it out of the park, and just a monster of a home run into the Blue Jays bullpen and out of the park. Gilbert winds the pitch from the home run umpire Cam. What a swing from Vladdy. He nailed every square inch of that ball that he could. And that's where we're at. Sorry, friends. Just very itchy nose here. Oh, there we go. Mustache hairs doing what they do. If you watch live streams long enough, you know that. So here we go. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. gives the Blue Jays a 5-0 lead. We now find Alejandro Kirk, the next batter, up against Bizzardo. Seattle Mariners down 5-0. And this is where the Blue Jays have to start chewing up bullpen for the Seattle Mariners here. The more you chew up the bullpen, the better off we'll be. As what a swing. I mean, just come on now. That is why we have this guy forever. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. swinging it right out of the park and gone. Just an unreal swing. This, I mean, is as close to the year as you're going to find for the Blue Jays. And now Bizzardo ready to take the mound. First new pitcher of the ball game since the starters began back in the first. Bizzardo lines up for Seattle against Alejandro Kirk. Andres Jimenez checking over his shoulder, making sure that shoulder is good to throw. And here we go. Logan Gilbert out of the game. Trey Savage in the dugout, patiently waiting to see if he's going to get an opportunity to go back in. Bizzardo, 2.52 ERA, 102 whip during the regular season, 9 innings pitched in the postseason, 4 earned runs, 8 hits, 11 strikeouts, and a walk. Here comes Kirk. Let's get this going. Bottom of the 5th. Bizzardo holds the ball. Into the stretch he comes. And he'll throw that one right down the pipe for strike number 1. The Blue Jays give the new guy the first pitch of the game for him. That'll be 0-1 to Kirk with 8 on the pitch clock. 5-0 the lead for the Blue Jays here. Bizzardo set, ready to deliver. Shakes and gets going. And here we go. The swing. Swung foul by Kirk. It'll be 0-2 as Gilbert patiently waiting for things to turn around here, but nervously watching after giving his team a 5-0 deficit to possibly have to come back from, as that was a tough outing for Logan Gilbert, but credit to the Blue Jays for staying on him inning after inning after inning. Here's Kirk lining it to right field, right into the glove of Canzone, who can't hit, but he can field. And that, well, friends, is a 1-out affair now in the bottom half of the 5th inning for the Blue Jays. Varsho with a base hit so far in this game that got him to second on the error by Rodriguez. Will line up ready to rock and roll here in this bottom of the 5th. 1 out, 1 for 2 like mentioned. Here's the kick and the deal from Bizzardo. And what a swing there from Varsho. Trying to gun that one out of the park. Just couldn't make contact. It's 0-1 to Dalton Varsho, who is batting .322 in this ALCS at .356 OPS. So what it wouldn't have done for him if he could have gotten that double there. Another similar pitch, and somehow, someway, that's not called a strike. The umpire just absolutely ripped off Bizzardo. Josh Naylor looking on, can't believe that himself. And here's Trey Savage hoping he gets that call when he gets up there next inning. Is this one pitched by Bizzardo? Varsho flies it out to center field. Rodriguez backing up, warning track. Wall catches it, and it is 2 down here in the bottom half of the 5th inning for the Toronto Blue Jays, as the Seattle Mariners, gave up the leadoff home run to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and have since pulled in a new pitcher and gotten 2 straight outs, as Ernie Clement, who started off the last inning, gets us up to the things, or started off, the 3rd inning? Yeah, 3rd inning when Bam Bam Barger hit his home run. So let's get this going. Bo Bichette sitting there talking alongside, I believe, Miles Straw, talking things over and just watching the ball game, staying tuned, trying to figure out if he's going to get a chance to go to the World Series and get in on the roster in time to be a part of a championship team if there's an opportunity to have that. Here's Clement at the dish for Bizzardo. The delivery to the plate, and it is strike 1 again to the Blue Jays. That is how Bizzardo has greeted every single batter he's faced thus far in this game. As there's Clement, 432 batting average, 1 home run, 7 RBIs, a triple, and a reached on error as Clement slaps it to right field. He's dropped it in there. He should have extra bases based on the way that ball's bouncing, and he is there in a heartbeat all the way to second, and Clement gives the shake to the dugout, and just like that, there's a man at second base with 2 out in the bottom half of the 5th inning for Addison Barger, who is 2 for 2 this evening with a home run, scoring earlier Ernie Clement, who was already in scoring position. Bottom of the 5th, 2 out. 5-run lead for the Blue Jays. In the bullpen is Carlos Vargas. He's going to get going if this is not going to happen for Bizzardo. If not, he'll be coming in the 6th inning, lifted center field by Barger, right to Julio Rodriguez, who snaps his bubble on the catch, and that will do it for the bottom half of the 5th inning. Friends, we carry on. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the big home run to get the Blue Jays up 5-0. What a game it's been so far from everybody involved. The defense looking to step up and get this job going. Friends, if you are new to the channel, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button here on Dolany TV, as we are at the end of 5 innings looking to try and get this job going here against the Mariners tonight to force Game 7. So that is where we find ourselves halfway through the ball game, and the Blue Jays continue to light it up, as that is absolutely unreal to see what the Blue Jays have turned in thus far. So we're staying tuned, hoping the Blue Jays can continue to deliver results, and so far they have. 5 runs in 5 innings, looking good out there so far for the Toronto Blue Jays here tonight. So stay tuned. It's going to be a long finish yet. The Blue Jays bullpen is an untested, well, not untested, but not well-tested adventure, that's for sure. So hopefully we can find a way to avoid disaster here tonight and deliver home some results as we carry on into the top half of the 6th inning. Be interesting to see if Trey Savage does indeed come out. I'm not listening with volume, so couldn't tell you if Savage was indeed the guy coming out of the bullpen. But give me just a second, friends. I'm going to go stretch my legs quickly, and we'll be right back to this in a matter of seconds. All right. Shall we continue? I think we shall, as opposed to you listening to commercials anyway, as the Blue Jays and Mariners, well, both teams know what this game means to them. The Blue Jays in choke territory now. You lose this game, it's going to be an ugly, ugly go for manager John Schneider. That much is for sure, and I know he's aware of just how much this moment means to the Blue Jays, the city of Toronto, and the country of Canada. So he will be managing, hopefully, with the utmost care at hand here, as the Blue Jays look to bring home Game 6 and force the all-deciding Game 7 between the Mariners and Blue Jays tomorrow night. It's been a spectacular hockey game thus far. The question is now, can it and will it continue as the Blue Jays get set for Trey Savage to get out there and continue pitching for them. He's on the mound one more time here in this top half of the 9th inning. He's had some danger the last couple innings, but they've rolled up double play after double play after double play. And the Blue Jays now just hoping they can get this job done here to roll out 6 innings, of shutout ball and get to, well, basically Louis Varland and then Jeff Hoffman. That is and was the hope, I'm sure, tonight. Pitching Trey Savage, knowing all options were on the table. And it's Cal Rowley, the first guy to have a say about that, as he swings, goes, and swung around for strike number 1. Waving on that pitch from Savage. Once more, the Blue Jays have gotten some favorable swings from the Mariners. Some just questionable swings from the Mariners themselves, but favorable for the Blue Jays nonetheless, as Raleigh takes his time, taking a timeout. Savage at 76 pitches, so he should be good to get through this inning. No issue, no problem, no wonder whatsoever, as John Schneider and Pete Walker nowhere near that bullpen phone to start the top half of the 6th. Here's the delivery from Savage at the bottom of the zone. It is an 0-2 count to Cal Rowley as Louis Varland continues to warm up here for the Toronto Blue Jays fans on their feet. Varland looking like this might be the final out for Savage, as he took a moment to appreciate what his young starting pitcher is doing out there. 0-2. High pitch to Raleigh. Well, he ain't biting at that. It was basically neck level. 1-2 count now to Cal Raleigh with a 5-0 Blue Jays lead here in the top half of the 6th. Is Savage, loads up, ready to deal the 1-2. Here it comes to the plate, swung on, fouled back by Cal Raleigh, and that will be another pitch here. 80 pitches upcoming now for Trey Savage, as this is an opportunity for the young rookie to have a moment similar to Logan Gilbert facing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for Guerrero. This is a moment where the pitcher needs a moment of legacy right here. As John Schneider nervously watches on, Randy Arozarena wondering what this will all mean for him. As Cal Raleigh looks on from Savage, swung on and missed. That is another strikeout for Trey Savage, and that is another out for the Blue Jays. Cal Raleigh, the big threat from the Seattle Mariners, strikes out, and the Blue Jays now through 5 1/3. Scoreless ball. Savage on the splitter, throws it and rails right past the bat of Cal Raleigh, and the Blue Jays get it going here as Trey Savage, now 1 down in the 6th, will throw. Polanco watches it. Ball 1 to Jorge Polanco. .214 batting average for Polanco, who's 0 for 2, now 5 for 20 in the ALCS with a homer and 5 RBIs. Savage set, ready to go. Another pitch upcoming here. Savage just crossed 80 on the pitch to Raleigh that struck him out. Number 2 of the at-bat here to Polanco is ball 2 for the Blue Jays, as Davis Schneider is in the cage getting set to possibly pinch hit here. As what is going on here? I've never actually seen this camera. As Davis Schneider taking his warm-up pitches in the, I guess, bullpen, you could say, is a nice play by Vladdy. Gets it over to Savage. Just like that, that's 2 down for the Blue Jays. Trey Savage rolls up a couple quick outs here in this, the 6th inning, and Trey Savage just doesn't look like he's going to stop tonight. He comes back to the mound. He's ready to give her. Trey Savage ready to keep going in this game. Varland keeping warm in the bullpen. I don't know if we're going to need him until the 7th or 8th. As one more out here for Trey Savage with lights out. Let's go 6 innings of you-know-what. But first he's got to get through Josh Naylor to the pitch. Swung on by Naylor, and that is hammered. And that is an absolute unloaded home run there from Josh Naylor. He literally did the old cartoon swing there and absolutely railed it out of the park to right field. What a slam there from Josh Naylor, and that's an unfortunate goal for the Blue Jays, who now lead 5-1. That is smacked. I mean, there's no other doubt about that. That is, like, unbelievable. He literally did a spin in the batter's box unloading on that pitch from Trey Savage. There's no other words for it. As Naylor goes, swings, and, I mean, literally he goes right through it. And he just kind of spins around in the batter's box. He didn't like it. Or was he just doing it for the dugout? Maybe he was. It looked a little faster paced on live action than it did on the slow-mo replay. Here's Arozarena, who now comes up to the dish. Savage's shutout ruined here by Josh Naylor. Now a chance to get Arozarena and complete 6 innings of ball. No doubt about it anyway. Let's go. Got to get this job done here. As the Blue Jays continue now with Savage on the mound. 1-1 count to Arozarena. The pitch from Savage upcoming here. It's delivered to the plate. Slapped by Arozarena into the gap. Quickly Barger charging it. Has to keep Arozarena at first. And he will. And now I wonder if Savage will be coming out of this ball game, or if they're going to give him one more batter here. Suarez can make it a 3-run or a 2-run game with one swing of the bat. John Schneider checking things over again. He's got confidence in his rookie. And Schneider is going to motion towards the mound. And this will be it for Trey Savage as he points to the bullpen. And that will do it for Trey Savage's night. He goes 5 2/3, responsible for up to 2 runs. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. quickly the first man to talk things over. As Varland gets the pat on the back, he'll be coming into the game for the Blue Jays. And Savage gets a standing ovation as he takes his time walking off the mound for the Blue Jays. Another stellar outing for the young rookie. It's only going to get better from here for him. And what a night, what a game. It's Game 6 ALCS, Blue Jays, Mariners, and Trey Savage has delivered through 5 1/3, a 5-1 ball game with a man left on for the Blue Jays here in tonight's action. We'll see how this plays out for the Blue Jays now that they're bringing in Louis Varland to try and close out this inning and possibly the next inning as well to try and keep the Blue Jays in the lead. Varland, of course, famously, I think he gave up that home run to Aaron Judge. I don't know. Things have gone. Time has blurred so much over the past several weeks as the Blue Jays continue to roll through the postseason here, friends. But tonight, the Blue Jays just trying to roll through Game 6 and get to Game 7 tomorrow. So let's quickly check how things are looking here from a Blue Jays fan perspective on the back end of the stream here, as we are rolling up. And now, friends, thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button here tonight. Now at 18,187. So if you hit that subscribe button, would truly appreciate that. Other than that, let's keep this going here as the Blue Jays and Mariners continue on in game number 6. That Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere movie looks really, really good. So might have to go check that out. Seen a lot of commercials for that as of late, as the Blue Jays and the Mariners have delivered a pretty good ball game thus far. The Blue Jays obviously getting the better part of it thus far, but hopefully that continues to be the trend the rest of the way home. Monday Night Prime hockey tomorrow, Montreal, Buffalo, and then the Oilers will face the Montreal Canadiens on Thursday at home after the road trip concludes. The Oilers now 1-3 on said road trip with a chance to finish it up 2-3 with a victory against the Ottawa Senators on Tuesday if they can clutch up. So we got Saturday. Oh my goodness, we got so much ball and hockey going on. We're not used to this up here in Canada. Blue Jays haven't been an ALCS team for a long while. Here's the pitch to Louis Varland. It is called a ball, and Alejandro Kirk cannot believe it. That's fair enough, Kirky. That's fair enough. That one definitely caught some zone on the way through. Here's Suarez, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, a man at first, 2 out in the top half of the second. Varland delivers right into the zone for strike number 1 and an even up 1-1 count now as Trey Savage nervously watches to see if he'll be tagged with another run here in his postseason career. If Louis Varland can deliver home the 6th inning without another run getting tacked on. Here's the pitch from Varland, right up there, top of the zone. It bled high, and it's ball number 2 to Eugenio Suarez. Varland, well, similar to the rest of the Blue Jays bullpen, kind of an issue with command sometimes, and hopefully we can center up here and get the job done. Varland delivers another pitch. That one bounces into the dirt, and it is ball number 3 as Varland can't believe that one, as he will take home that 3-1 count to Eugenio Suarez with a chance here to try and get out of the inning on every single pitch. That one loops into the strike zone. It's loaded 3-2. The runner is off first with the pitch. The next one from Varland is on deck is J.P. Crawford. He's been responsible for a double play against for the Blue Jays here so far. And Varland will get set to deliver here in the next at bat. The pitch to Suarez. Sorry, my computer was glitching. And Suarez delivers a bounce right there. Rosarena is coming home. The relay from Guerrero to Kirk is not in time. It's 5-2. And there you have it. Eugenio Suarez has just made it a 5-2 game on the right field bloop to the Blue Jays defense, and that is tough. He stays at first, does Suarez, though, so that's good news. If you're a Blue Jays fan, Suarez stays at first as it just kind of looped up over top of Vladdy at first base, and Vladdy was the only one that could possibly get to it, and he throws it all the way home, but just couldn't get a Rosarena in time, as Rosarena, again, if he wasn't off at the pitch, would have been held at 3, but just a perfect little spot there as Suarez went to play that ball a little bit more aggressive come around 1, but Vladdy was able to hold him there with the throw to home. Suarez now on first. J.P. Crawford takes the first strike of his at-bat. And here we go. Let's see what we can do here. As Louis Varland, 7 pitches into his outing, Trey Savage now done for the night officially as that run does score. So ultimately it's 2 runs tacked on to Trey Savage. An unfortunate go there, but what do you do? BOG reacting here to what's been an up and down now last few innings for the Blue Jays. JP Crawford in a 1-1 count. Outside, 2-1, 99 mile an hour from Varland. Blue Jays patiently waiting for the tide to turn here for Varland against the Mariners hitters. Blue Jays fans a little nervous here in the stands now. All of a sudden, things not looking as easy as they were a minute ago. Crawford fouls it back. And Varland now with a chance to get the strikeout as everybody rises to their feet again. Crawford got the beard going here as it'll be a chance now for Varland in a 2-2 count to strike the man out and get out of the inning here. Still up. 3 runs. The pitch from Varland inside on a wicked slider. It's 3-2. And again, Suarez now will get the benefit of the hot start from first base. And it's behind him. Canzone. As this is going to be another pitch coming up from Louis Varland. He will set, gather, and throw. Swung on and missed by JP Crawford. And just like that, the Blue Jays get out of the inning. 2 runs against, but hey, you know what? It could have been much worse, and it isn't. So as Blue Jays fans, we'll take care of it. It's a Game 6. That's up 5-2. The Blue Jays are into the bullpen, whether you like it or not now. And we got to see what they can deliver us here as this game carries on, as we have watched that Joe Carter home run how many millions of times now in this playoff run. And of course, the Blue Jays achieving heights that they really haven't achieved, at least in 9-10 years, and pretty much since 92 and 93. So we'll see if they can do it again here this season. Waiting for either team at the end of this series is the LA Dodgers. That is the tough part here. You got to remind yourself, the Dodgers are the class of the MLB. They've spent all the money in the world. They have the best players in the world. And they are just trying to scratch and claw out one more World Series here this year. And, well, they have just kind of made a joke of every team they've faced so far. So we'll see if the Dodgers, again, can end up doing that here against whoever comes out of the ALCS. Right now, it's a 3-2 Mariners lead. The Blue Jays must win to take it to Game 7, and that's the best that this game can do as we're midway through the 6th inning. 8 hits, 7 hits for the Seattle Mariners, 5 left on base for either side tonight. 2 home runs for the Blue Jays, the one from Josh Naylor that started the scoring. 3 walks for the Seattle Mariners. And man, Trey Savage and Louis Varland dicing things up here so far tonight. So we'll see what happens here, as we're hoping that the Blue Jays can keep it going. Don Termite and Peter, welcome in here. As how did they get to 5-2? Well, like I said, Josh Naylor hit a home run, and then off and running there from first base on 2 outs and 3-2 count. It was a bloop hit by Eugenio Suarez that scored Randy Arozarena, and that's how we find ourselves right now here in this one. So the Blue Jays and Seattle Mariners going for what is going to be a special finish to this ballgame. Thank you to everybody for tuning in here. Just saw a spike up over 100 of you live at once. That's the first time tonight. Thanks for being aboard. The Blue Jays, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., the last home run for them put us up 5-0 at the time. Obviously now 5-2. Addison Barger also with a home run. Ernie Clement's been an absolute electric factory tonight. 3 double plays from the infield here this evening. And Trey Savage, lights out, let's go. That is his mantra for sure. Great tag from the Blue Jays all season long, as he had one heck of an outing for the Blue Jays. Departed with 5 2/3 done. And, you know, the Blue Jays only 8 hits on the night so far despite the 5 runs. Efficiency at its best. 5 2/3, 6 hits for Trey Savage, 3 walks, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, lowering his postseason average to a .420. And here now is Bizzardo pitching still. Connor Falefa pops it up on the infield almost immediately to start the bottom of the 6th as JP Crawford takes it from the second baseman Leo Rivas, just as a little bit of a joke, as they both get a smile out of it. And now it's a 5-2 lead, bottom of the 6th, with 1 out as Bizzardo, 10 pitches in, has gotten a couple outs here following, well, now 4, following the leadoff home run in the bottom half of the 6th inning by Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Jimenez now at the plate for the Blue Jays. He will draw in against Bizzardo. The pitch in, that is strike number 1 to to the Blue Jays. 9-hole hitter in Andres Jimenez, as he will stride back to the plate here with pitch clock winding down against Bizzardo. Bizzardo lines up, gets ready to fire, swung on and missed on an 84-mile-an-hour wicked pitch from Bizzardo, did Jimenez, and now it's 0-2 with a 1-out situation in the bottom of the sixth. Nobody on. That's the other side of this. Nobody on here for the Blue Jays. Is warming up in the bullpen is Matt Brash and Carlos Vargas for the Seattle Mariners. Matt Brash getting a chance to get warm here as the Mariners feel like they're clawing back into it as Jimenez goes down swinging against the high heat from Bizzardo. 5-2 the Blue Jays lead, but they're getting mowed down rather quick here in this bottom half of the sixth inning. And the Blue Jays got to start finding a way to respond here quickly, or they are going to, start falling off the slope a little bit here if the Mariners have it their way, as this is now bottom of the sixth, 2 outs. George Springer at the dish. He's 0 for 2 following, of course, dealing with that leg injury last game, as this will be a pitch from Bizzardo, swung on by Springer, and he just hurt that knee. He did not like that at all. A very big grimace there at the swing of that pitch. 244 average this postseason, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 7 for 24 in the ALCS, 2 homers. So mind you, he's done his damage here in the ALCS so far. The pitch from Bizzardo swung on by Springer, but he's got no gas to get out of the box, and he will be done. That'll be 3 as Suarez throws over to Naylor for the 3rd out of the 6th inning, and that will do it. We have 3 innings left to decide this ball game. 3 at-bats from the Mariners, possibly only 2 more from the Toronto Blue Jays. Friends, thank you so much, like I said, for being aboard here in this ball game. It's been a heck of a time so far. Appreciate you hanging out here tonight as we continue along on the ride. Again, if you are new to the channel, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button here on Dolany TV. There will be a post-game YouTube short talking all about this Blue Jays game, and then we'll line up and see what we can do for tomorrow's ball game. I doubt I'm going to be able to live stream, just kind of too much going on tomorrow and got to work a little bit of overtime at work, but figured today was the day to at least get a little bit of the ball game in and get it talking. So Peter's just cheering for the Mariners. I did forget there is some history there, Peter. I was going to say Orioles fan. Yeah, that does make sense. But go Oilers. It's March 2026. Yes, indeed. The World Baseball Classic comes back for the MLB. It's going to be an absolute wild ride to see the World Baseball Classic get going again. That was such a fun time a few years back, and hopefully we can have just as much fun here again this time out. It was an absolute blast, that Baseball Classic. San Juan, Houston, Tokyo, and I don't know where the other place was, but we'll get there. As it is going to be a really busy year for Blue Jays baseball to finish it off, obviously, but it's going to be a really busy off season for the MLB as things continue to flip around as well. So stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun, but for the meantime, I'd encourage you to subscribe, mostly if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan. That's what I'd be telling you to subscribe for, is that's the regular everyday thing, I guess, to say. We might want to just throw the latest Oilers content in the chat right now, because the title is quite literally Not This Garbage Again, as we'll go here, latest Oilers vid. And there we go. Let's just pin that at the top there for you. We'll go pin that at the top and get that going. There we go. Thank you. If you check that out, I do appreciate that. As we go into the top half of the 7th inning, the Blue Jays, 3 at-bats from the Mariners away from closing this dang thing out. And how gorgeous would that be if we could do it? As Lana, welcome in. Why am I cheering for the Blue Jays when Seattle is closer to Alberta than Toronto is? You live in Europe, and I'm a fan of the Oilers in baseball. I'll tell you, there's only one team in Canada, and as a Canadian, you cheer for the Canadian team, generally speaking. I think it's one of those things where what's more accessible on TV? In Canada, the Blue Jays are the most accessible baseball team, followed by the Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, and then the Mariners. So that would be kind of the deal there. Is the Blue Jays growing up were always accessible on TV. Growing up in the summer, they're always on. You're always able to watch, whereas the Mariners games, you had to have like the extra little bit of the next package up kind of deal. As here's the pitch from Varland. It's wild. Inside on Canzone, who's batting $120 after his last at bat. So he's all of a sudden rescued his postseason a little bit here. 1-0 count to Canzone. Pitch comes in on the inside edge. It is called a ball again here for the the Toronto Blue Jays, Louis Varland. And yeah, that's a good question, Peter. Is this one swung on by Canzone, popped up into shallow left field. Jimenez still backing up. He is going to grab it out of the air. And yeah, there you have it. It is a caught ball. So yeah, that's Lana. It's all good. Yeah, it's just one of those things is if you're probably in the BC Lower Mainland, I could definitely see a lot more BC Lower Mainland people being Seattle Mariners fans than possibly out in Alberta or Saskatchewan. That's for sure. Again, it's not that far. It's probably actually a closer drive to Seattle, and I think it is mathematically than it is to Toronto from where I'm at. So Varland over top of the zone. He will deliver ball one. One out in the top of the seventh. The Mariners down quite literally to their last 8 outs of the ball game here, and they got to deliver some results here if they want to try and bring this one home. Here's Varland, onside edge. Yes, sir. 1-1, and the Blue Jays bullpen is quiet right now. Looks like somebody's thinking about warming up, and that's probably Jeff Hoffman back there. As it's a 1-1 count to Leo Rivas, and the Blue Jays don't really need to get anyone up here if Varland continues to dice up. That's ball number 2, though. So the stress is starting to add up here. You see Varland bringing it up. You see how many times I'm grabbing my beard here right now. It's dicey times here in the Blue Jays bullpen, and hopefully they can keep delivering shot after shot from Varland to try and get through this. This is a 2-2 count now in the top half of the seventh. The Blue Jays do lead 5-2. That's what you got to cling to. The Blue Jays leading 5-2 is absolutely huge right now, as we're not trying to fight and claw back into this game. We're just trying to, keep things afloat here as we keep going in game number 6, going to game 7 if we can deliver home a victory here. The Blue Jays will fire up another pitch from Varland in a 2-2 count after the last one was fouled back. Low of the zone! Looking, and you're out as Louis Varland delivers another strikeout here. And just like that, it is 2 out in the top half of the 7th for the Blue Jays as they have the Mariners down to their last 7 outs of the ball game. Now you can start thinking, okay, what do we do? How's this going to play out the rest of the way home? It's only 8:13 out here west in Canada as Varland looking to get the job done against now Julio Rodriguez. Low pitch. It is ball 1 to Julio Rodriguez, who's 0 for 2 with a walk tonight against the pitcher, Trey Savage. 7th inning. Varland on the mound now for the Blue Jays after Savage was lifted in the 6th. Swung on by Rodriguez. It'll be a fly ball into the glove, and that is done and dusted. Lucas makes the catch, and we will head to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Blue Jays leading 5-2 here in game number 6. Friends, I will be right back. Just going to quickly head upstairs to refill the water bottle. Let's go. The Blue Jays 2 innings away from calling ball. Well, what do you say, friends? Shall we get this 7th inning stretch underway? All right, let me lead it. Here we go, Blue Jays. Okay, Blue Jays. I got nothing. I'm just messing with you. Blue Jays are up 5-2. And, yeah, B. Gillis TV, it's going good. I can tell you with 100% certainty it is going good. It's been a good ball game so far. 5-2 for the Blue Jays. Can't complain at all. Obviously, friends, thank you so much for tuning in on the live stream side of things. Really appreciate that. It's been a great live stream. I did not know what to expect for Blue Jays on Dolany TV all these years later, but right now as it stands, well, it's looking all right, that's for sure, as we are doing just dandy here on the stream and looking to bust 100 hours next inning, that's for sure. As the Blue Jays continue to be Canada's most popular team here, at least to start the hockey season, I would say there's not a single hockey team that's really doing outstanding things for the Blue Jays or for Canada as of yet. So yeah, got to see if we can continue a dominant stretch here from the Toronto Blue Jays and get this to game 7 by night's end. The Blue Jays trying to get things going. Mikey V, hopefully the old bro is good there and we're good to go. But but he's down for the count after, well, a little bit of an injury today. So wishing him the best vibes. You just tell me. You just tell me. If I got to bring the old ice cream cake after the game, I'm good. I'm good. All right, here we go. The projected jackpot for the 50-50 is $2 million for the Blue Jays. That doesn't really sound all that much in comparison to the Edmonton Oilers jackpots, but truly it is. As Blue Jays fans are fired up, a chance now. The Mariners have almost caught up to the Blue Jays in hits, but the Blue Jays a chance now to get some more hits and get an opportunity to possibly knock in some more runs. As lining up now on the mound for the Blue Jays, it's Matt Brash of the Seattle Mariners. He comes in only having given up 1 earned run so far this playoffs, 8 innings pitched in the postseason, and he has been absolutely deadly for the Seattle Mariners. We'll see now. Nathan Lukes comes into the plate here for Toronto. He will line up against Brash. The pitch high. The Blue Jays, again, their best attribute is that they are patient. As Jeff Hoffman warming up in the Blue Jays bullpen as we head to the top of the 8th inning in about 3 outs here from the offense. As the swing from Lucas gets grounded to the second baseman Rivas over to Naylor, and that is a quick out number 1 of the bottom half of the 7th inning. Blue Jays leading 5-2. Brash gets an out on the second pitch. And a big swing from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Last time out is his only hit of the ball game, as he got, well, a big swing to hit it over the fence and put the Blue Jays at the time up 5-0. Now, Guerrero Jr. has got to deliver himself one more big swing, not necessarily out of the park, but just into the outfield, and deliver ourselves one more hit to put the pressure on the pitching of the Seattle Mariners. That much is for sure. We'll see if they can do it here. So let's get this going. As a pitch now from Brash. He will get things going towards Guerrero. Instead, it hits him, and Guerrero has been awarded first base right there. So Guerrero Jr. will head down to first base on the hit by pitch, and that'll bring up Alejandro Kirk, who's been a little bit quiet tonight. So his chance now to try and get things going here in this one. So see what he can do. As Guerrero Jr. on first base now for the Blue Jays. Kirk up to the dish, 0 for 3 tonight. The pitch coming from Brash. It'll be up top of the zone. Sorry, friends. Just a little bit of a windstorm out there, so the old internet's a little poo-poo tonight. But, you know, we got Kirk in an 0-1 count now as he will face Brash, who's given 5 pitches to the Blue Jays so far. And they've got a man aboard and 1 out so far on this go. As Kirk lines it up the middle, that's right through the infield. Julio Rodriguez gathers up at center field, and that means now Kirk 1 for 4 in the Blue Jays. 2 men on for Dalton Varsho, and possibly the home run swing that could put it away if he can get it. That's really all it comes down to. Varsho, you know, a double here would knock home at least 1 run, and the Blue Jays would take that all day if they could get it. As Alejandro Kirk lines it up the middle there for the Blue Jays. A beautiful little swing. And Kirk and Guerrero aboard the 3-4 hitters line up Varsho, who's now going to get things going. Brash is going to take a little bit of a timeout here. Coming out to talk to him is Cal Raleigh, who's obviously, like we know, the home run king this year. He's hit a whole whack of home runs. And now Budzinski there on first base talking things over with Kirk. Varsho outside the box just waiting for the pitcher-catcher conference to end here. And this is going to be huge for the Blue Jays if we can get him as Barger. Getting it going, Mikey V, premonitioning, or what is that? Premonition? I don't even know what the word is. The English language escapes me for a moment, but Mikey V's promising insurance runs. Here comes Brash in a, well, no count to Dalton Varsho. 1 out in the bottom half of the 7th inning. 2 men on for the Blue Jays, first and second. As the Blue Jays get set up to line up the next pitch here, Varsho. And I mean, Raleigh is stalling for all the time he possibly can here in this bottom of the 7th. As here's Dalton Varsho against Matt Brash. Brash with 6 pitches into his outing tonight. He's been absolutely lights out in the playoffs so far. Here's the pitch to Varsho, and that will be strike number 1 to the Toronto Blue Jays 5-hole hitter. 1 for 3 today, singled and scored back in the second inning. Here's Varsho against Brash for the 0-1. 1-0. Remember, a double play would erase the Blue Jays here in the 7th inning. A swing and a miss, and it's going to be a chance to get things going. And here's the throwaway at third. It was a wild pitch at home, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. scores, gives himself the self-high five, and that is a 6-2 lead for the Blue Jays on a wild pitch that ends in an error at third base by Cal Raleigh. And that is a lead for the Blue Jays that expands to 4 just like that. Cal Raleigh cannot believe he threw that ball away. That mustache is looking November perfect, by the way. But that is a tough go there, as the throw from Brash is off the dirt, eats up Raleigh. And then a throw over there to first or third base is thrown away as Suarez, I don't know what he was doing to defend that throw, but here comes Guerrero Jr. He touches the plate, and Varsho now with a man at second will strike out, and Brash sits him down in a 6-2 ball game just like that. What an unreal go here for the Blue Jays and Mariners. This game is about to heat up. It's been pretty good all game, but now about to get better as Ernie Clement comes up to the dish against Matt Brash in the bottom of the 7th with 2 out. Kirk standing on second. The pitch to the outside, purposely into the other batting box, is Ernie Clement, 2 for 3, reached on an error, has a double, has a triple, has 2 runs. You get him on bag. It's a 7-2 ball game. I don't want to say 7-3, but they're pitching around him here. Brash again throws the slider to the outside, and the Blue Jays not exactly getting anything to hit here in this at bat for Ernie Clement. 2-0 the count, 2 outs here in the bottom half of the 7th. Everybody starting to get excited, starting to stand on their feet here. A couple people anyway. The pitch to the outside, and that again is 3-0. I don't know what they think they're going to get Ernie Clement to chase on, as Matt Brash takes a quick second to pitch the ball away. And we'll get there as Rubra asking for the get well cake. Well, that might be coming tomorrow. We'll get that happening, as I didn't know he was alive. As it's the bottom of the 7th here, friends, as we'll get things rolling into a 3-0 count to Ernie Clement. Here we go, the pitch in the middle of the zone, and somehow, someway, they call that a ball, and Ernie Clement will walk down to first to put runners on first and second with Bam Bam Barger, Addison Barger, coming up to the dish here for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 7th. Woodworth out to talk to Brash. Very well, Vargas might be coming into this ball game here, or just a moment to calm down. A great bullpen arm for the Seattle Mariners as Cal Raleigh gets a little bit of vote of confidence from his manager as well. Those batting boxes, man, they are chewed up there from everybody batting so far in this game. Barger getting the on-field camera time from the guy coming out of the Blue Jays dugout all the time, as Addison Barger will get a little highlight pack here back in the 3rd inning. The home run that made it 4-0. He slammed it over the wall. Just a beautiful little shot in the lights. And he knew it the whole way that was gone. That was an absolute lift-off moment for the Blue Jays. And we'll see where it's going here, as this is going to be an interesting situation here. Bottom of the 7th, 2 outs for Addison Barger. He lines up against Matt Brash. 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. As that one bounces off of Cal Raleigh, hits Addison Barger, so the ball is dead. And just like that, we will have a 1-0 count. Brash suddenly struggling. I don't know what the pitch calling was to pitch to the outside of Ernie Clement, but ultimately it ends up walking him. Friends, if you've been enjoying the live stream, definitely leave a like on the stream. Another pitch to the outside. Brash is throwing 6 straight balls here to the Blue Jays. 2 outs. We remain in the bottom of the 7th, hoping to get one more run across, if not 2 here. Barger lines up the pitch from Brash right down the top of the zone in the heart of the plate. And it's a 2-1 count to Addison Barger now, as Brash continues to work here against the Blue Jays, continuing to pile in the ball into the strike zone. 16 pitches this inning so far. He's looking to get out of the inning. The pitch low of the zone. It's a 3-1 strike count now, and I really got to get rid of these mustache hairs that are killing me here. My apologies for keeping touching my face here, but Miles Straw talking about possibly running for Addison Barger if he gets the opportunity to get on base. Barger in the 3-1 count, swung on and missed. What a wild swing there from Barger, but what do? It was a much needed swing. Anything out in the outfield would have scored Kirk, at least you would figure. And now Barger up there at the plate in the 3-2 count. The runners are off. Definitely a guaranteed ball up the middle or a ball into the outfield. Scores Kirk here from second. Kirk on second. Clement on first. 2 on for Clement with 2 out here in the bottom of the 7th. The pitch now from Brash. Low and inside. It's loaded bags for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. The guy, while we traded away because of a poor year last year, comes back and gets to be a big part of the Blue Jays' success down the stretch. And here he is again as Miles Straw will come out and run for Addison Barger, as John Schneider trying to get a hold of the umpire to say what's up as Barger comes out of the game. A hero tonight for the Blue Jays, an effort, needed from a guy who's pretty quiet throughout the ALCS and the ALDS thus far. And now all of a sudden he's built his way up here in this game number 6, trying to force game 7. There's still the 8th and the 9th to go, but the Blue Jays trying to threaten here in this bottom of the 7th. The pitch from Brash, 19, now 20 on the ledger. If he throws this one to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, he will. The ball, the slider whips far off the dish to the outside. It's a 1-0 count. Brash continuing to struggle with command here. 4 for 10 for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in the ALCS. Batting .400 is not a bad goal. 1 for 3 tonight. The pitch now from Brash, swung on by Kiner-Falefa, skied into right field, tracking it as Canzone. He'll make the catch, and that'll be 3 outs in the bottom of the 7th to end the 7th inning, and the Blue Jays can't threaten to score a run. So here we go. It'll be Jeff Hoffman coming in to close this one out. The 2-inning save upcoming for possibly the Blue Jays closer. I'll be right back. Just going to go take a quick break. All right, let's do this. Let's close out this ball game, friends. The Blue Jays looking to close down the Mariners in the that's not the comment I expected to come back to. Sorry, that's really good. That's really good, Bro. All right, let's do this. Blue Jays up on the Mariners 6-2. Going into the top half of the 8th. Jeff Hoffman coming out to close down this game, as hopefully we get this going here, as hopefully we get things done and the Blue Jays can figure out a way to win this ball game. That's all that matters. I know up 4 we shouldn't be worried about that, but we are, as that has been a problem for the Blue Jays all season long, as the bullpen blowing leads, and we'll see if that continues here tonight as we'll get going into the next little bit of this game here, friends. The Blue Jays trying, like I said, to close out the Mariners with a 2-inning save from Jeff Hoffman. Miles Straw now in left field. Nathan Lucas will go take over right field for the Blue Jays. He's had some spectacular plays out there, so he'll try and police the field there and get it going, as Jeff Hoffman policing the mound now for the Blue Jays. 4.37 ERA this season, 1.19 whip, as he's had 4 1/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, and a walk so far on the ledger in this MLB postseason, as the positioning from the fielding coach. And here we go. Jeff Hoffman ready to rock and roll for another game in Blue Jays colors. Hoffman set to deal to Cal Raleigh. The pitch inside, and that will be a ball 1 in the count. Top of the 8th. Nobody out. Cal Raleigh getting things going. The pitch now to Raleigh here inside. Cuts back to the plate. Beauty two-seamer there from Jeff Hoffman gets the count level at 1 apiece. Hoffman to Raleigh, a 1-1 count, and the Blue Jays continue to, well, just suck on that Gatorade water. As Pete Walker carefully counting the pitch count here, the swing, the miss, and the foul tip by Cal Raleigh back against the screen. Looked like he missed that one, but the ball exploded back off the back screen. Here's Hoffman in a 1-2 count. Top of the 8th, 6-2 the score for the Blue Jays. As Hoffman lights up the crowd for the first time in his outing tonight. Trying to get this job done. Oh, hey, there's Randy Rosarena sporting the batting gloves I do this year. As here we go. Cal Raleigh at the plate in a 1-2 count. The man that could make the difference for the Mariners. Swung on, popped up, foul. It goes over top of the screen and out of play. So the Blue Jays live to see another day here in this at-bat. So too do the Mariners. Hoffman trying desperately to get Raleigh sat down to start the top half of the 8th. 4 pitches into his outing. Swung on and missed. That's another out. That's another strikeout for Jeff Hoffman as he sits down Cal Raleigh to begin this outing. 1 out of 6 outs needed for Jeff Hoffman as he strikes out Cal Raleigh on a fastball at the top of the zone. And Raleigh, who's had a great postseason in some regards, having a tough go tonight, if that's the regard you're regarding tough goes in. As it's a 6-2 lead for the Blue Jays here. Polanco at the dish sees ball 1 from Hoffman. 6 pitches into his outing. Hoffman now needs to get a quick out here, whether it be out number 2 or out number 3, as Polanco will take up the pitch here from the Blue Jays. And it'll be Hoffman on the inside, throwing it there on Polanco, so it's a 2-0 count. As, Mikey V with a big diaper comment. And we haven't had much chirping back and forth between Mariners and Blue Jays fans tonight, but there you have it. Let's get this going. Jorge Polanco, 0-3 count, or 0 for 3 today with a 2-0 count, sorry. Pitch in there. They call it a strike. So there you have it, 2-1 count. Jeff Hoffman's got the Blue Jays fans on their feet, clapping along, enjoying the heck out of this finish up to this ball game. So here we go, another pitch to Polanco, loading from Hoffman, who's working rather quickly here in the top half of the 8th. Fouled off by Polanco. It's going to be a 2-2 count to Polanco and a chance for Hoffman to light up another strike. Hoffman, for his well-being, has been pretty close to the zone with every single pitch thus far, which is good to see, as Hoffman will walk up to the mound here. A chance now for Polanco in this 2-2 count to silence the crowd as well if he can get aboard. But Hoffman looking to sit him down. The white panel hats at home. Working out again for the Blue Jays. Here's the pitch from Hoffman. Swung on, and they're going to say he foul-tipped it. They're going to say Polanco foul-tipped that ball. Looked like he was going to miss it, but got the very end of the bat off it. And John Schneider arguing the call here, but you can't really, I don't know if there's any way to review that at all. Pete Walker's saying he's fine with it. It's okay, we'll be good. Jorge Polanco lives one more swing at least. As everybody on the Mariners bench nervous as can be. Randy Rosarena in his normal position at the top of the dugout as Polanco bats. 2-2 count here. Jeff Hoffman ready to set and deliver. Looking to get going here. Took Alejandro Kirk, set up on the outside. Swung on, and looks like it's a foul ball off of Polanco. So it's a dead ball there on the dribbler up the right side of the infield. Cal Raleigh going over everything there. He's drenched in sweat, and it's been a tough game for everybody involved. Alejandro Kirk looking to call the game home for the Blue Jays as Polanco fouls it up the line, and Kirk touched it in foul territory. Hence why it was not a fair ball. And this one swung on by Polanco will go foul again. Polanco doing exactly what the Mariners hoped he would, chewing up pitches from Jeff Hoffman here. Eugenio Suarez waiting in the wings. He is a big run that would make the difference in this ball game if the Mariners can continue to get player after player on the bags. As here we go. Jeff Hoffman for a 90th time this at bat, it feels like, gets the swing and the miss from Polanco. Down low over to the zone. That's a second punch out of the ball game for Hoffman. 2 outs here in the top half of the 8th inning, and the Blue Jays 4 outs away from Game 7. They just got to get the job done. A splitter down in the zone, and Polanco just, again, waves at it terribly like the rest of the Mariners have done today. And unfortunately, that for them is another out here against Jeff Hoffman. 2 outs, top of the 8th. Hoffman, 1 quick out here against Josh Naylor would be absolutely clutch if he could do it. Hoffman, top of the 8th. The pitch on Naylor, fouled back, out of play. And that is going to be an 0-1 count to Josh Naylor, as he's got .349 batting average, 3 home runs, 4 RBIs in this postseason so far. And here's the foul back, and he just kind of caught Alejandro Kirk in the leg with the swing through. And here we go. Here's the pitch from Hoffman, swung on again by the Mariners, and oh boy, I did not know where that ball was. Miles Straw somehow did. That's out number 3 of the inning. The Blue Jays survived the inning. Jeff Hoffman 3 outs away from advancing the Blue Jays to Game 7 against the Seattle Mariners here in the ALCS. The Blue Jays have one more at bat as well to have something to say about everything here for tonight's action. The Blue Jays, I mean, this is stress. We have not had postseason stress like this since when? Oh, I guess the Oilers were in the Stanley Cup final last spring, but that is where we find ourselves right now. The Blue Jays and the Mariners going to the bottom of the 8th inning here. The Blue Jays looking to finish off what has been an outstanding game thus far. Obviously, the start from Trey Savage again, friends. Louis Varland coming in and having a pretty good go of things as well. It's been a good night to be a Blue Jays fan thus far, and we only have one more set of batters from the Seattle Mariners that could have something to say about it not being a good night, as Louis Varland gave up a hit, gave up 2 strikeouts, or got 2 strikeouts in an inning and a third of work. 2.79 ERA in the postseason now, and you know, so far 1 clean inning with 2 strikeouts from Jeff Hoffman delivers us to the 9th inning when the Mariners come up to bat next time out. But yeah, it's looking good here if you're a Blue Jays fan. We got to just keep delivering result after result after result here, and things will come together nicely for the Blue Jays. We're on commercial break right now, friends. I will take a moment here to tell you, I doubt I will be able to live stream Game 7. That's why I had to get Game 6 in. But if you are new to the channel and you want to follow along for the Edmonton Oilers, you want to follow along for, of course, as well, possibly some Blue Jays talk as this series continues tomorrow, hopefully. Definitely hit that subscribe button here on Dolany TV. All right, enough about me. The Blue Jays, it's Vladdy Guerrero Jr., it's Addison Barger, it's Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. They've got the RBIs. Barger with 3 RBIs tonight, Guerrero with 1, Kiner-Falefa with 1 as well. And, of course, a lot of runs scored here for the Blue Jays tonight. 6 of them so far, 9 hits, 7 hits for the Mariners. 3 errors now charged to the Seattle Mariners. That is what has been their unraveling and their undoing. So, there we have. As Mike V saying, that's why Hoffman needed to come in the 8th of Game 5. I absolutely agree, Mikey. That's where we would say Jeff Hoffman. He was a little bit dangerous against the Yankees there just simply because of the control issues. But he got the job done, and that's why you have to trust him. He's your closer for a reason. Jeff Hoffman getting ready to go back out there to hell wrapped around the arm. He is ready to light it up in the top half of the 9th. But first, the bottom of the 8th, the Blue Jays against Carlos Vargas. Vargas, 6 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. I don't know if that's the strongest pitcher you could throw out there if you're the Mariners, but that one goes sailing wide, 99 miles an hour for Carlos Vargas against Andre Jimenez. A big inning here for the Blue Jays, or a quick 3 up, 3 down. I don't know if it really matters. Whatever's good for Jeff Hoffman's what you do. Jimenez, the pitch, swung on and missed at the top of the zone. 1-1. The count in the bottom of the 8th here is another guy walking around in that bullpen. Is that Kevin Gausman? Oh, no, that's Graham Johnson, the bullpen coach. Never mind. Nobody throwing in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Jimenez, fly ball out there to left field. Randy Arozarena quickly gathers it up in the outfield, and he will haul down that ball for out number 1 of the inning. And I don't know if to sit forward or not. I'm enjoying sitting back in the chair calling a ball game, but maybe we'll get a little bit more serious and sit up a little bit more and be a little more respectable. Hey, we got the Blue Jays going here on the chest today. That's what the red jersey's all about. Trust me, I only have one Blue Jays jersey and I don't get to wear it very often. But here's George Springer 0 for 3. Carlos Vargas 4 pitches into his night now as he delivers to Springer. Up and inside and just about domes Springer with that ball. He ducked out of the way and hit the ground in a hurry. As George Springer in a 1-0 count, 1 out here. Vladdy, top of the dugout, waiting his turn to go on deck. And that pitch just got away from Carlos Vargas. There was no ill will there to dome Springer, but it got right up tight and right in close. As here we go, Springer against Vargas. 1-0 count, 1 out, bottom of the 8th. Let's see what the Blue Jays have. John Schneider managing a good ball game thus far. The question mark remains, will he continue that way? Here's the pitch from Vargas. Pitch inside, it clips the zone. It's a 1-1 count to George Springer here from Carlos Vargas. It's been a heck of a ball game from the Blue Jays. They've done exactly everything they need to be in this position they are in right now. 1-0, bottom of the 8th. Springer a chance to add more runs. He again fouls that back, and that knee giving him all kinds of trouble as Naylor runs over to the foul territory. That little outlet wall there, and Springer again, he just does not look comfortable every swing he takes. He's losing it and going to a knee every single time. Just doesn't have the strength to stay up, and the knee keeps slamming the ground. But he's being an absolute warrior out there, trying to keep us in this series. Springer could have Joey Loperfido substitute for him if all goes bad, and we need a guy longer term in this game. Springer will swing on and miss, and that will be a strikeout as Springer looks ill again after that swing. He's gotten through the pain. He's done everything he can to help the Blue Jays get to this moment, but there's not much more he can do now as you just see him just hurting on every single swing. Twisting and turning is not his best friend right now. The Blue Jays down to their final low to the bottom of the 8th here as Nathan Lucas comes up to the bat. He will face Carlos Vargas. The first pitch swung on and missed at 100 miles an hour for the Toronto Blue Jays. Nathan Lucas. 0-1 count, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Carlos Vargas, 9 pitches now into his night. Swung on, grounded by Lucas. J.P. Crawford throws on the run. Not going to be in time. And Nathan Lucas extends the inning, lagging out an infield single. And the Blue Jays, dang, have they been good at that tonight, getting aboard in some weird circumstances. Eugenio Suarez likely the victim a few times earlier, but this time around it is the Blue Jays grounding it up to J.P. Crawford. Lucas getting the best of the throw across the diamond on the run from J.P. Crawford as Lucas busted out of the box as fast as he possibly could down the line. Left-hand batter advantage. Here's Guerrero, table set, runner on first. Pitch swung on, fouled back, 1-0-1 from Carlos Vargas. An 0-1 count here now to Vladdy with 2 down in the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th, the Blue Jays just 3 outs away in the top of the 9th from securing a Game 7. Vladdy at the dish trying to add some insurance runs for Hoffman. Swung on by Vladdy. It's going to be popped over shortstop. Take a weird hop. That was an inside cut. And Nathan Lucas advances to second base. Vladdy stands on 1. And now Alejandro Kirk, who last time up got the party going, could have a little bit more to say here in this bottom of the 8th. As what a swing there from Vladdy. It was right in on the hands off the label, and it actually double deflected off the bat and splintered the bat at the same time. If you watch this slow-mo, it actually just kind of rolls off the bat somehow and goes out into left center field. So Vladdy, he'll take it. He's been the hot hand. He's been the playoff MVP for the Blue Jays so far. What a go here. Blue Jays 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position tonight. As we get things going here, friends, definitely if you're enjoying the ball game, leave a like. Here's a swing from Kirk, fouled back on the 100 mile an hour from Carlos Vargas. 225 average, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, a single last time at bat for Alejandro Kirk here in this ball game. As Kirk will line up against Vargas one more time. 12 pitches into his night. Pete Walker assumes the position along the dugout rail. Kirk flies it out into right field. That'll be a lazy fly ball for Canzone, who comes down with the ball 3 away in the bottom of the 8th. To the top of the 9th we go with Jeff Hoffman and a chance to secure Game 7, friends. The Blue Jays and Mariners ready to do battle one last time. The Blue Jays would love not to have to swing it in the bottom of the ninth. If you are new to the channel, friends, I encourage you right now to hit that subscribe button. Unfortunately, this is not a primary Blue Jays channel. We've talked a lot about the Blue Jays of late. Again, the old school Dolany TV stuff was all about the Blue Jays, but now full-time, full run with the Edmonton Oilers. Would love to have any of you Oilers fans watching tonight. If you're not already subscribed, to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for Dolany TV Oilers coverage. Again, you can check out my latest Oilers video at the top of this live stream chat in case obviously the Blue Jays game ends and you want a little bit more Dolany TV to watch tonight. Okay, what do we know about the Blue Jays so far? It has been a heck of a ball game. It's been a wild ride. 11 hits, 7 hits for the Mariners. It's a 6-2 ball game. 3 errors for the Seattle Mariners. Costly fielding has undone the Seattle Mariners tonight. 10 left on base for the Blue Jays. It could be much worse for the Seattle Mariners if the Blue Jays had cashed in runners on base. 2 home runs for the Blue Jays, 1 for the Mariners, 3 walks aside, 11 strikeouts from the Blue Jays pitching staff. What a night it has been. All pitchers used, Savage, Varland, and Hoffman each have 2 strikeouts, and Hoffman looking to try and load up a couple more before we're said and done here tonight against the Seattle Mariners. Friends, thank you for being aboard. Welcome to Dolany TV. Appreciate you hanging out. The Blue Jays just trying to get things going. I'm going to quickly stretch my legs here one more time. It's been a long night of sitting, but we're almost done. There we go. Good stretch in. Let's do this, friends. The Blue Jays, the Mariners, one final half inning, and we very well might have a Game 7 tomorrow. The Mariners, though, they ain't done yet. Game 7, if necessary, 5 p.m. Mountain Time start, as it would be an absolute electric go, and that's, again, why I won't be able to live stream tomorrow, simply because getting home in time after working an hour overtime tomorrow is just not going to happen. As Shane Bieber likely to go for tomorrow, Cal Raleigh, the big star for the Seattle Mariners this year, has had a shutdown night from the Blue Jays pitching staff, so they're on one more time tomorrow, but we got to get to tomorrow. And here in the bullpen is Sir Anthony Dominguez, waiting in the wings in case Jeff Hoffman needs relief. Hoffman will go out there, though, with a chance right now to bring home a game that is very well in the wings for the Blue Jays right now. Just waiting on a final score if they can get there in time. The Blue Jays lead 6-2. Carlos Vargas wondering if he's going to have to go pitch the bottom of the ninth. And here we go. Jeff Hoffman on the mound to Randy Arozarena. The first pitch of the top of the ninth, in there at the top of the zone. First strike one. Count it. Randy Arozarena finds himself down 0-1 to Hoffman, who's now 16 pitches into his night. And Hoffman will deliver the second pitch of the inning. In there at the top of the zone again. It'll be called a ball. That one clearly missed. So the Blue Jays, a 1-1 count to Arozarena in a night where he's been 2 for 3 so far and been a little bit of a thorn in the Blue Jays' side. Everybody ready to rock and roll. Here's Arozarena on the swing and a miss. That is strike number 2, 87 miles an hour from Jeff Hoffman, as Arozarena gets set to face the Blue Jays crowd, which is electric right now. Everybody standing, yelling, shouting as they try to bring home this next pitch and a strikeout for Jeff Hoffman. The swing, the miss from Arozarena, and just like that, it's 1 out in the top of the ninth for the Toronto Blue Jays here as they look to shut down the Mariners' next 2 batters. It's the heart of the order here, though. That's the hard part, the big part of the order for the Blue Jays to face in the field, that being the Mariners. You got Suarez coming up, J.P. Crawford coming up. I thought we were still in the 4-hole. That's my bad. As Suarez comes up now for the Mariners, a swing and a miss there on Jeff Hoffman's first offering of the at-bat. 0-1, 1-0, top of the ninth for the Blue Jays. Here is Eugenio Suarez at the dish for the Seattle Mariners. 0-1 count to Suarez as Hoffman sets, steadies, throws, pitches outside. It's a 1-1 count. Here now to Eugenio Suarez. 21 pitches into his night. Jeff Hoffman just 2 outs away from forcing ALCS Game 7 for 2025. As here's a pitch from Hoffman. Grounds it right into the other batter's box. Gets away from Kirk. It's a 2-1 count. Nobody on base for the Mariners. Keep that in mind. Nobody on so far this inning at all. It's a 6-2 game. The Blue Jays fans losing their mind, getting pumped in the stands. The Mariners looking a little desperate in the dugout. Here's the pitch to Suarez. Swung on and missed again. And it is a 2-2 count just like that. 1 out in the top half of the 9th inning. And the Blue Jays now 1 strike away from being down to the final batter potentially for the Seattle Mariners. The rally towels going on. The Seattle Mariners fan in the stands not looking too pleased. The swing from Suarez fouled back. Hoffman quickly threw that pitch and gets it still. A 2-2 count to Suarez, who's 1 for 2 tonight, as he's had himself another good game for the Mariners. The fans, young, old, and somewhere in between, all nervously watching on here as Jeff Hoffman looks to deliver the next pitch for the Blue Jays. Everybody standing, waiting. The pitch coming from Hoffman. The 2-2. Suarez looks at it, spit on it, and it's a 3-2 count as the Blue Jays will continue to do battle here against the Mariners in this top of the 9th. Let me tell you, those World Series hats would be really nice to have in a Blue Jays fan collection. Here's the pitch from Hoffman to Suarez. Outside! He got him! Swing and a miss, and the Blue Jays 1 out away from game number 7 against the Seattle Mariners at the Rogers Center. Here we go. Suarez down swinging, and the Blue Jays just have J.P. Crawford to face. Jeff Hoffman, an up and down, all around season, a consistently inconsistent situation for him, will face J.P. Crawford with a 4-run lead to punch a ticket to tomorrow. The pitch inside from Hoffman starts the at-bat 1-0 as J.P. Crawford, 2 out here in the top half of the 9th inning. Looks at Hoffman, stares him down. He's 0 for 2 today as Crawford. He had a walk earlier. It'll be a pitch now from Hoffman to Crawford, high of the zone. The Mariners not really getting things going very much here in this 9th inning. All swings and misses or foul backs when they've hit the ball. Clement standing around there waiting for this ball. Jimenez as well. 2-0 count. Jeff Hoffman with 28 pitches on the ledger. Kiner Falefa, the entire infield just patiently waiting for a ball to hit their glove and get over to first base to call it a game, as this one will be Hoffman standing tall at the mound. Getting set, bends over, gets the ball in the glove. Here's to J.P. Crawford. The pitch swung on and missed. It's a 2-1 count. And Jeff Hoffman, well, he's got right now 4 strikeouts in 2 innings almost. We'll see if he makes it an even 5 to close out the inning. Here is the pen to the crowd of the Seattle Mariners fans. The wild pitch from Jeff Hoffman doesn't cost him. Still nobody on bag for the Mariners. It's a 3-1 count to J.P. Crawford. Jeff, welcome aboard. So here we go. The Blue Jays down to the final few pitches potentially of this ball game. The Mariners hanging on by a shoestring here. Jeff Hoffman, the pitch up top, will walk J.P. Crawford. That's tough. That's tough. You would have loved to see him swing and pop that one up. But J.P. Crawford, smarter than his counterparts before him, spits on that ball and it goes up for a walk. Kirk comes out to talk, can zone, and I told you this at the start. If anybody was going to have a game-changing night for the Mariners, it was going to be Dominic Canzone, who's had an absolutely brutal go in the ALDS and ALCS thus far. Well, he is the man at the plate, which represents the final out of the ball game if the Blue Jays can sit him down and advance to Game 7. Friends, thank you so much for being aboard here tonight as we come closer to the finish. John, welcome aboard. And here we go. Let's see what we've got. Blue Jays fans in the stands, a little nervous here as the game winds to Dominic Canzone, who, like I said, he's had about three hits all postseason. Hoffman sets, delivers, inside, swung by Canzone, lifted, foul out into the second row of seating in the first deck for the Blue Jays. And that ball out of play will be 0-1 to Canzone with 2 outs in the top half of the 9th. 115 batting average, 1 RBI, 2 for 20 in the ALCS. It's been a brutal go, like I said, for Canzone. But that's what I'm saying, is he is the guy, if anybody, to get it going. Always the least likeliest hero in the playoffs in the MLB. The pitch outside, what a snag there by Alejandro Kirk to save a run from getting advanced. Obviously already. J.P. Crawford's at second base. He advanced the bag on that throw. And here we go. Jeff Hoffman, 33 pitches into his night. Dominic Canzone at the dish facing him here in this at bat in a 1-1 count. 2 outs in the ninth. Swung on and missed by Canzone. What a pitch by Hoffman. Tailed that slider inside on his back foot. And now 1 pitch away from Game 7 at the Rogers Place on a Monday night to light up what will be an electric factory of baseball this week if the Blue Jays can get the job done here. And you know what I want to say, but we won't curse it yet. Jeff Hoffman sets. The pitch is coming high. Delivers outside. Lifted by Canzone. It is indeed a pop-up. Clement seals Game 7. Let's go! Here we go. The Blue Jays, a winner take all. They take it up to 7. And we will see who faces the Dodgers in the World Series tomorrow. Trey Savage, the Game 6 performance. What a night for Blue Jays baseball. Canzone the final out. And the Blue Jays get a chance to go to the World Series tomorrow. That's the beauty of this. Nothing's guaranteed. A loss and the season's over. A win, the Dodgers wait on Friday. The Blue Jays an effort tonight. That is something you have wanted to see out of the Blue Jays all postseason long. And Rogers Center, Rogers Place, I've made that mistake 100.5 times here, Peter. Brutal go for me, but again, that's what happens when Rogers owns all the naming rights to the arenas and stadiums in Canada. But yes, indeed, Rogers Center, the Toronto Blue Jays get a chance for Game 7. What a night for Blue Jays baseball. Trey Savage, again, built for setting the table for the Blue Jays. He gets the job done. And just like that, the Blue Jays, Game 7 is a dream. No longer. It will happen tomorrow, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, friends. Let's go. It is going to be, I'm just watching my reaction back live. That's fantastic. I cannot believe the Blue Jays just pulled that off. That is absolutely awesome. Well, I got nothing more to say, right? I'm going to go rest up. It's 9 o'clock out here in Alberta time. Friends, if you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button again. Praise tonight goes to the Blue Jays pitching staff. 2 runs, limiting the Seattle Mariners at home to their lowest output so far of this series on Rogers Center Field. And well, now we're going to see what happens here for the Blue Jays and Mariners in Game 7. Thank you so much for being aboard here tonight. Friends, we'll see what happens when I get home, what time everything happens tomorrow. Doubtful for a stream, but hey, we'll see if we can make it happen. Thank you for being aboard tonight from the bottom of my heart. This has been a blast. We'll talk to you tomorrow.